me every time.
What's that? Your cum shields?
The music. Nah, dude, I'm ready to eat some squirters out. You know what I'm saying?
What?
I can see that.
You gotta get it.
What?
Where's your fins?
Don't want to get sprayed.
Safety first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're going here.
Granger.
Yeah,
Get him. Got him.
Are those
Good.
M3? M3 safety
They're
shields.
definitely projectile proof for sure.
So yeah, this shit's a polycarbonate or what? I'm gonna stop a saw blade.
Those are so big. In case you have a oops and she takes a big old poopy on you.
Oh,
It'll be
God,
safe.
no, that's nothing safe from shit, bro.
Oh, yeah, who knows? How you boys doing?
Welcome back.
Couldn't be better.
We got Mr. Himbo
Jim on
Slice
me.
on.
Imbo. The J is silent.
I'm just saying, I'm never out punching people in the park for money.
Not yet.
Well,
We could come to
isn't
that.
what Kimbo
Some dark
Slice
days ahead of you, buddy.
Isn't that what Kimbo Slice did?
Yeah.
Like, you know, hey,
He-
I'm just
Yeah, he was on that homeless fights thing. What was it? Bum fights?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's where he started.
Backyard fights. Yeah.
Bum fights to the UFC,
And
baby.
then he started tackling people out in the park too. I saw that. Like they'd come up to somebody in the park and be like, "Hey, you want to put these pads on and get let him tackle you coming across the middle?"
Dude, he would light you the
he
fuck
did.
up. He was a big boy.
Yeah.
Who was that? You guys would know that better than me. Who was that one not quarterback? He was like a tackle or something. And they used to have all those commercials where he would go tackle people in the corporate America.
Oh, Terry Tate.
Yeah.
Fucking Terry
You
Tate
didn't
commercials.
put your cover sheet
Those were the OG,
on your
man.
fucking no. Yeah.
Dude, that's when ESPN had awesome commercials.
Yeah. I
They used to
remember those.
fucking kill with commercials.
I
all
wish
the
I could
time.
have. I wish I could have two Terry Tates. Production is way up.
You get that done yet? Like, yes, sir. He's like yelling at him and shit.
He blew out his knee. And then they hired the white guy, the white linebacker. I forget his name. And they came in.
Oh, was it?
Built the Green Bay one?
No,
No,
it was like
Matthews, it was like-
Yurtsevics or
It was someone from the Chargers. I didn't even follow football back then until I got into fantasy football. I didn't really care for it that much.
Till you were crowned with your godhood.
Yeah,
Self-proclaimed only.
I know.
how many saints do you know?
And
One.
I'm gonna be in first place after this week too. Woo!
Hey, actually, one of the guys
Where's
that
the
did
first?
concrete from my house used to play for the New Orleans Saints.
Really?
Yeah.
Look how times have fallen.
Oh. I'm pretty sure the Saints will let anyone play as long as they're over 5'5".
I can do it.
Right?
Well, this
Pass
guy
a
had
drug
a couple
test.
inches on me and about 60 pounds.
Right.
And he was not in workout shape.
We talking
so
height? Yeah.
No, penis.
length.
What the fuck are you talking about?
That's what I don't know. I'm on to clear the air.
Yeah, I mean,
Coming
well,
hot with the cum
how long
goggles.
ago did he play for the Saints?
Didn't say, and I didn't ask.
How'd you know he played for the Saints then?
Was it like
'Cause he
AAA Saints?
told us.
Was that, he had a tattoo on his arm.
Interesting.
Did he mean like little league Saints? Like he played for like a 4-H league or something?
No, like he talked about a story about flying into. Oh, it was back in the day a ways because he was flying into New York to play the Giants just after 2001.
Oh,
So
really?
he was talking about how surreal that was and all the because it was a few weeks after. Cause
Fuck, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. I was like, shit.
Yeah. So
Never
we got talking
forget.
about that.
I wasn't
Absolutely.
even. I think you guys were freshmen.
Mhm.
And I wasn't even in high school
I
yet.
forgot my
I was a
phone. Never forget that I
sophomore,
forgot my
so-
phone. What?
God, I remember
was a
my.
sophomore. We
Yeah.
were sophomores.
Yeah, my dad. I remember because like, me being in 8th grade, my brother would do swimming, so he'd be up at the pool already, and I can hear my dad.
Hashtag Navy
My,
SEAL.
my dad always had Imus on till he got canceled, and I could hear my dad. He woke me up, and I was like, "What the fuck?" Because they cut Imus off, and they showed the one tower being hit. And he's like, "God damn it! Some commercial guy just flew into the fucking tower, ruining my
Nas.
goddamn Imus out
Yeah, I
here."
was trying to have my goddamn
And-
coffee.
Yeah.
I gotta watch this
Yeah.
And
bullshit.
you can just imagine my mom's just yelling, "Just calm down, Bill. It's fine." Like, God, Jesus Christ, this fucking shit, liberal ass fucking shit out here. And then you just, as it's live, as they're filming it live, he sees the other plane come in. Well, everybody saw it that was watching it. And he's like, "We're under attack."
Oh
And
fuck!
Get your guns.
Vietnam
pretty much,
flashbacks.
yeah, pretty much. And he
Yeah.
went and got my brother at the pool, which is just Post Falls pool.
You guys
now.
are hugging out in the
Now it's
fucking
a church.
bathtub.
I'm
with
pretty
a
sure the church
blanket over
kept
the
the
top.
pool and they just baptized people in that goddamn pool. It's like dump
Kicked him
there.
in like fucking
But,
300.
He went to get him, and
This
I'm
is Post Falls.
I'm groggy as shit waking up to this. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, do I have to go to school today? Like, what is this?
That's the
Like,
only thing you cared about.
are we really
Free
under
day.
attack? I thought it was a documentary when I woke up. I was like, this can't be fucking real.
Already? It's
was-
that live doc.
wait,
You
it
ever
was-
seen one of those?
it was
No,
hap-
Joe, that's news.
Well, I just woke up. I just woke up at 5. Right, I'm getting ready for school, and my brother comes back and is like, "Yeah, Dad said the Pentagon just got hit too." And my brother was like, "Yeah, Dad came in and yelled through the showers. He's like, let's go, we're at war.
Put your dick down.
It
We
is-
gotta get a gun.
They just hit the towers in the Pentagon." And my brother, he swam with like the guys that would swim with him were fucking stupid, like just fucking dumb.
So they fit in with your brother.
Yeah, and so one of the dumb ones asked the other dumb one, because my brother was telling me this when he got home. He's like, what's the Pentagon? He's like, I don't know. I think it's like a 12-sided building or something. The
shit.
government has.
Oh,
Or some
Jesus.
shit.
Well, 2 trillion went missing the day before, so we won't talk about that.
So
you know?
that was my
That's how
9.
they were just doing some housekeeping with the Pentagon.
That was my 9/11 experience.
Oh, what's getting here? Yeah, we're gonna move everything out of that area real quick.
Oh, my
By
dad.
the way, we lost 2.5 trillion, and then
It doesn't matter, America.
Yep.
My dad was so mad that the B-52s weren't nuking somebody
Oh, I
within
bet.
3 hours. Like he was, what kind of fucking country is this? And it was Bush in charge, and he was not a Republican then, and he hated Bush because he thought he was dumb as fuck, which
Well, he was.
we all thought he was dumb as fuck, you know.
Yeah. He wasn't chalking.
My dad,
He was the
my dad was
first-
ready to like.
Nah, Bush is
My
just
dad was ready to
inarticulate.
see
He's
some
not
shit,
stupid.
you know.
Dude, Bush was the first
the fucking
sign of
president.
CTE. Someone speaking out loud. My potatoes. Like, what the fuck did he
Yeah.
just say?
I think the presidency just does something to people. It just fucks with your mind. Like, there's like photos or footage, and I tried to show Aaron this when it was on a Joe Rogan podcast, and he showed like an example of George Bush being governor speaking, and like it was the most articulate speech like you would expect a governor to give, like maybe even higher quality. Because
Well, you got to realize these guys are like late 60s and then into 70s.
Yeah,
when they
and
They're
start,
fucking
right?
old.
and then
So their
he goes,
cognitive decline has already started
Well,
by the time they're
what-
55.
what
he
probably
goes-
happens is,
that's probably what it was. And then he goes in to be the president, shows
and then
another
every year,
speech,
well, then he's
yeah.
under more stress
and
too.
he's just
so it's
fucking he's
yeah,
just
you're
like
gonna-
fucking
you're gonna
like
climb that ladder.
like
You got to live life like you're climbing that ladder.
right.
Yeah.
So you're burning hot.
Oh, you're burning
Don't-
both sides too. I mean, so you're in cognitive decline. Plus, you're not sleeping.
Trump
Plus,
did
you
so
got a
well.
level of
The
stress.
only president that went in there coming out looking younger was Trump. Like, what the fuck did he do?
Well, think about it, dude. Like most of those presidents, when they're so old and they can't do
Dude, he's
a goddamn
dummy
thing,
thick, too.
it's like remember when you're like, I don't know, a yee kid, with like 6, 7, 8, and you got
Does that mean
that
you're a Kanye fan?
a little bit. You get that like fucking remote control car, and it wasn't the cool one where it was like gas or batteries that go 100 miles an hour all down the road, but it was that little shit one you'd get that had like a 6-foot fucking cord to it, so you had to follow it around all the time. That's
to be
what I
super
think
close.
happens to the fucking presidents. They put a probe up their ass, and there's a fucking cord that comes down their pant leg out to the back of the stage. So every time they walk up to do like a press conference, someone's controlling them, you know. Then you have the hiccups and like,
Well, I
like with
don't-
Biden, it's like they never redid the fucking calculation on anything. Firmware update, people, and he's still out there fucking
I think
can't
Jeff
even
Dunham's
speak.
Got the best take on
He's
that
falling upstairs for shits.
because Jeff Dunham did a skit where he was like Ronald Fump versus Ben Hayden, and the way he like prefaces this whole thing is like, yeah, and Jill's backstage with the freaking shot collar that's shoved up his ass, and every time he does something he's not supposed to, she hits the shock button.
Exactly.
He's all
Fucking
full.
Jeff Dunham took my joke. That son of a bitch.
They just
Yeah.
they get him on a nice cocktail of amphetamines to get him out of bed in the morning, dude. It's fucking crazy.
Well,
man.
imagine like you
Oh,
have
yeah.
everybody that does everything for you. Like you have so many advisors.
Sign this.
You don't have to come. You don't even have
He
to
reads
do
it
shit.
too out loud.
Like, yeah,
He
sign
he
here.
Yes.
Like you don't have
It's
to
like,
do
what?
shit. I wish my job was like that. Like, oh, you guys doing everything?
Imagine being the most powerful man in the world, just showing up to work, just like you're fucking just woke up from a spring break, fucking sexcapade, dude, while doing fucking lines and
Out of it, so fucked up. Like, what? What am I saying? Oh, yeah, I don't give a fuck. Who'd we kill today? Yeah, fuck him.
just fucking.
Seriously.
You got 16 people just fucking carrying you around, dude. Just
Right. Well, that's the thing, too. It's like,
Here,
if you have to have a
welcome
cap
Xerxes.
to be 35 to be the president, like, they should cap it at the elder age. It should be like you can, couldn't be a president past the age of 65. And if you got the presidency at
Well-
64, you get it for 1 year, bitch. Like you're getting grandfathered in, and they just cut you
They're-
down and goes to the vice presidency.
their competency tests are obviously off because there's no way that Biden is showing visible signs of cognitive degeneration.
Oh yeah, 100%. But
he's
that's
being
also
He
the
can't even
thing
have
too.
he can't have a single conversation without a gap, like without really fucking up what he's talking
He doesn't
about.
even know what he's talking
and the
about.
lines are right in front of
I was watching a discussion he was doing the other day, and you can see his wrists, and it's like
It's
you
got
could
notes
see
on it.
where- You know, you could see where
Like
the
taking a
the
test and
strings were
cheating.
tied, and they were wearing like spots in his wrists. You know, 'cause
Right.
it's
fucking
being
moving 'em
focused
It's the
like
new
on that.
Pinocchio movie. 5 years from now, we're gonna get the live action Pinocchio.
Guillermo del
yeah.
Toro does such a good job on this
Pinocchio,
one.
Stop sniffing the fucking hair I eat, bruh.
Well, I mean,
Jesus.
it's like the House and the Senate too. It's like put a cap on that shit. Like
Oh,
you can't have
Pelosi-
80-year-old motherfuckers trying to run our country when they don't even know like what's a tic-tac-toc.
Pelosi's looking
It's
like
like-
she's like she goes to the same guy that Michael Jackson did. Dude,
Dude, they went to the
For
fucking
fuck's
Crypt Keeper.
sake.
You know,
Tune
Oh,
in
yeah.
next week.
Definitely.
you know, it's like what the fuck,
Yeah, the old
Crypt Keeper?
the old crypt guy.
Yeah.
Tales
Oh
from the
my
crypt.
God,
dude.
that
That's
was
what they
a
looked like.
throwback.
It's like get the fuck out of here. Come on.
I mean, hats off to them. They're smart. They figured out the thing that
No, they got money. Is what's
Yeah,
going on. They
American
have money,
smart.
and people are embezzling more
they
money.
do
for
now. They do now have money. Once you
Dude,
get
they
in
did that whole search on it. It's like, you know, even like Pelosi's husband, like doing the inside trading and shit. It's like,
Oh,
I
I just-
didn't give him the idea. It's
I just
like,
meant
okay,
like
shut up, bitch.
I just meant like government officials in general. Like imagine like if you ran, like what is your first day in office going to be like for as a representative?
I would
or-
jack off all over the
or a
fucking place
senator.
wherever
Like,
I was.
what do
If
I
I was in the
do?
White House, Oval
Yeah,
Office, I'm like,
That's
fuck
why
you,
you're not
Clinton.
in
Here's my
elected
nut.
office.
yeah. No.
Yeah.
Just be like, what?
I'm checking the head clearance underneath that desk immediately, dude.
Give it the old Bill.
You're gonna
Bill
see,
Clinton
there's the
treatment.
trap door that she popped up out of.
Hey, I'm just saying Mythbusters bike over here, dude. I'm just making sure that shit could have happened. You know?
Honestly, I'd be looking at it and trying to give back to the people. I'd be like, okay, who wants a new book deal?
right?
Get under my desk.
Yeah.
Right, you know?
Got some knee pads under there. Like, where this is for my feet.
And
You got
it's
one of
like,
those- you got
it's a
one of those-
historical knee pad too, where like, oh no, you can't take it out of the office. That's been there
No.
for ages.
You got one of those fatigue
Made out of
mat-
wood.
You got a fatigue mat underneath there. You're not even standing up underneath the desk. What is that for?
It helps the chair
What's
roll.
this button do? Is that
Amazing.
bomb fucking Iran? Pipe comes out and goes to your dick instantly. Like, oh, no wonder all the deals are made good out here. It's like, that makes
Seriously.
sense. Shaking hand, kissing babies, baby.
Nothing but amphetamines
Oh
and
my God.
dopamine just running
Please.
the
A whole
president
drawer.
over here. Yeah.
You have your pick.
Please,
You open
please,
the drawer and it's just straight lines and it's just got a name on each one of
Right.
the lines, dude.
Too fucked up where you can't talk? Fucked up just
Yeah,
enough.
yeah,
Okay,
right.
that's the one I want.
It's cut just enough.
brush your teeth before kissing babies out here.
Oh, dude, I saw a meme the other day, and so since Brittany, what's the last name? Gardner. Griner. Yeah, that's how much as I follow. Anyways, so we got her out of fucking.
Hey, you're a leader. You don't follow.
That's true.
Best WNBA
That's right. I don't know what's going on
trade of all
behind me.
time.
However, I know what's going on in front of me. But since they got her ass out, the meme was it showed El Chapo sitting in jail, and he's like, I can't wait till next.
Some
FIFA season.
American.
Yeah.
It's going to be me going to Cabo.
Right.
I'll be in prison.
My
Down there
favorite-
240 days. Like, get me out of here.
My favorite
Get me
one.
out.
My favorite one was this is the first WNBA draft ever publicized or on public
Yeah.
TV or whatever.
I just hope there's no Marine down in Mexico though when I get out. Like,
Right.
Sucks to suck, bitch. I don't know what to tell you. You know what's gonna happen is they're gonna free that Marine and then he's gonna be all like, "That's my job. It's my duty. I want to be a prisoner. I'm over there, respectfully."
I don't think he wants to be
Take
over
the
there, but
bitch.
Yeah,
I mean-
he pretty much said he.
That's what's gonna.
wanna be-
That's what he's gonna. I know. I don't blame him. I wouldn't want to be over there either. But
I just think it's fucking
Well,
chaos.
There's
that
an easy
there's
solution to all that though.
bomber.
Don't go to freaking Russia.
I had to play basketball.
Well, she made the
Don't
big
bring
mistake of
marijuana.
underestimating how strict their rules were because she shouldn't even been fucking
Yeah.
with.
Well, did you hear the backstory about that?
She tucked that marijuana
Is
up her.
so there was a big baller
whatever.
out there who takes care of like all the American basketball
Oh, I'm
players that come
sure.
over,
I'm sure.
and like they're the one that he's the dude, I can't remember his name, but like ushers them in, gets them their weed, takes care of like the
Concierge.
or, yeah,
Concierge.
I don't know where I was going with it, but
Okay.
sure, that sounds good. And he's like the in between like the Russian
Sure.
forces and the American people coming in. Well, this dude was on fucking hiatus on a vacation for 2 weeks, getting fucked up in the Bahamas, and she came in thinking he was gonna be there. Like, oh, we'll talk to so and so, and they're like, no, nope, you're coming to jail. Where if he would have been there, like he has been for multiple visits that the WNBA has been over there,
Well,
it was never a big deal.
Here's my whole stance on it is how strict they are with the rules there. I wouldn't even be fucking meeting homeboy, shaking hands or nothing. You play your game and get the fuck out of
Right.
there.
Yeah,
dude.
I'd be in my
If
hotel room.
If
and
I'm
that's it.
behind enemy lines, like for real, like if I ever
Yeah.
flew there for business or whatever,
Right.
I'm in the fucking out of that bitch, dude.
Well, that's just
uh,
even so. It shows you how like naive people can be. Like, you know, regardless if it's even sports you play, it's like you're still in
Put-
another fucking country
put
that
the
has
blunt-
strict rule. Like,
Dude,
follow
put the
their
blunt
shit.
down.
Yeah.
Put the blunt down. I mean, the shit
I can go-
supposedly not addictive. So put the shit down.
Right. No,
Who's,
hey, you can't
uh,
drink over here
Take
for
a
a week.
week off.
Well, look at the fucking guitar. That dude got killed over there for fucking drinking
Yes.
and partying. So
Who's
I
the
mean, look at
guy-
that shit.
Who's the guy that married Kim Kardashian after?
Which
Yeezy?
one? She's been married like 12 times.
Which sex
What
tape you
happened
talking
today?
about?
Yeah.
No, like the guys on SNL, like the stand-up guy, like the.
Oh, Pete Davidson.
Yeah.
He married her?
She looks like Pete Davidson, like coming home on the plane ride, like
She
with her
kinda-
beanie
she-
and shit.
She kind of low-key does.
She's the female version of Pete Davidson.
She kind of low-key does. For
yeah.
sure.
Pete
They're
Davidson
married
Yeah.
now.
Is 6'7". They were married.
No, they weren't.
I don't know what the fuck
they didn't
were.
get married. No.
Like who
I think they
cares?
just
Like
did
he
it.
got the bone Kim
Dude,
Kardashian.
Pete Davidson has a golden dick.
He must.
He's out there
Maybe that's what
slaying
pushed
people,
him.
It's
dude.
no. It's just. It's honestly. It's comedians slay because they making people
When
laugh.
do you ever hear a girl? But it's like, oh, here's the
They can-
funny guy in high school, and then there's the fucking jock, and the funny guy's over there beating off in a corner. But
Hey, I
it's
don't
because
need
he
your high
has money
school
and he's funny.
professionally
Money and
well, he's
funny.
professionally funny though. Stand up's a whole different thing than being funny like in a conversation.
Yeah, that's true.
Like that guy's. If you actually watch him, there's a certain charisma and falsehood.
His
that kinda
stand-up
comes-
suck,
I like
though.
him though. I like Pete Davidson.
No, he's
His-
hilarious.
his
He is
movie,
hilarious.
I went in trying to hate his movie, dude. I
can't.
actually liked
The
it.
one with
dude.
Bill Burr.
The Staten Island one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, yeah.
Staten Island King. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good one. Highly recommend it. Pete Davidson,
Super
give a
good.
shout out, bro. We'll hang out
And
again.
Bill Burr killed that shit. By the
We'll
way,
get- yeah. I remember listening to his
Killed
podcast and be like, I got this fucking
He even
mustache. I
killed
gotta
it in
wear.
the Mandalorian. I thought that was pretty.
Yeah, he's in the
It was good.
Mandalorian. I was like, what the
Yeah.
fuck? He's in everything.
he was in
But he
Star
pulled
Wars.
it off.
He was in Star Wars before the Mandalorian too.
He was
I
always
didn't
in a
know.
costume though.
He was in a costume, but he
Yeah.
still. I mean,
Was he the one that was the got behind the counter guy, like giving out money
Yeah.
or giving out food?
yeah,
for-
correct. Yeah, he was the one.
Jim,
that,
we move that,
that
just a
Ray
little bit closer to your face.
that Ray went to. You guys want to mention that earlier. You got a nice voice. You got a nice.
Oh,
radio
he's
voice too.
he's
There you go.
he's
How's that?
yeah, he's
Good.
loud.
I'll,
He's
I'll turn you up.
Now
a
I got
little
a
bit.
burner
Now I can deal with it.
from the pea gallery back there.
just- and the peanut gal
Joey Crypto around here somewhere. I swear to
in the
God,
house.
dude.
You guys hear that?
It's like a fucking
You're
ghost in the
fading into the
corner.
background.
The Joey
Like
Crypto,
Bitcoin.
i.e. the ghost of
Looks
Joey
like Sam Kinison getting all itchy and shit. He's like, give me the fucking mic. Give
Yeah,
me
those
the mic.
fucking. He's it's the fucking the FTX losses over here, dude. He's got him haunting the studio, man. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, if people don't know, now Joey Crypto is sleeping on the couch in the studio. He's made some bad moves.
He's down horribly, so he's just sleeping on the couch here in the back of the studio.
Hunter Biden's
He's
coming
calling
over.
us every
soon.
day.
Either that or he's walking
Hey,
straight
when are
for
we doing another?
donations.
We need to do another episode. We need another episode up right now. I got shit.
He's hitting up Hunter Biden, asking him what that Parmesan really is. Like, he's ordering Papa John's, going
this
like,
don't
that
taste like-
that Parmesan packet's only 76 cents, dude.
This
I'll
don't taste
fucking
like
eat it."
oregano.
Need that chicken parm, son.
So what'd you bring us? What is
Oh.
this?
Well, let me.
Is this like a weight, a dumbbell? What am I doing out here?
So this is from my past life as an engineer. When I was working for a company that designed fluid bed boilers. So this is the one of the cast iron nozzle sections that would sit in the bottom of a 1500 degree sand bed, and this is how you would spread the air out underneath of it so it worked properly. So this is a piece out of one of
A boiler?
to 160 pieces inside the furnace, and that would almost always go to a boiler. That would, was how
Those
I made my
fluid
money.
flame boilers are badass because
Yeah,
Oh,
what
yeah.
is it?
people
what
don't know. Like the sand actually, what's the word? I'm looking for not s-
Fluidized. It boils.
Right,
but
bubbles.
it boils.
It
Yeah.
raises.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Suspends. There
So
we go.
for
That was
those
so hard.
those people who don't
Don't
know,
talk
Floats.
don't talk to Joe about suspension, dude. Remember how this went that one time?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Sand floats.
Oh, good.
it does if there's enough wind.
Fuck, here we go.
Don't
dude.
give Joe an
Yeah,
idea.
don't-
You,
don't-
Jim,
hey,
take
don't-
it back right now.
I already have enough.
So-
I already got an idea with this
so-
the season here.
What is a boiler exactly? If you don't mind me asking.
Like an industrial boiler. So almost every sawmill in the area has a boiler of some kind so they can dry their lumber. Most sawmills get pressure that's not too terribly high, but it's a great way to move energy. So they use the steam that's made by the boiler to go into heat exchangers that go into those big kilns that they use to dry the lumber out, because it's hard to move hot air that far. You don't want a duct that's as big as this room.
Or multiple huge heaters.
Yeah,
all
so
over the place.
so they send it over in pipes that are 6 inches diameter, and then they spread it out throughout the whole kiln, and it's real easy to work with and all that. And that was a lot of what we did. We also did work for power plants and shit. So if you get a boiler that's got really high pressure steam, and then you put on something called a superheater, you can send it through a steam turbine, which is basically a jet engine inside of a 6-inch thick cast iron case, because that shit's dangerous, and it's spinning at like, God, I can't remember.
Yeah,
30,000 RPM or
boiler rooms are
15,000
like
RPM.
where Freddy
Just
Krueger
crazy.
would be, you know, like
for the
down
really
there.
high pressure system.
Well, I've seen those. Like,
Yeah, that's the
there's
boiler
a movie
room.
called The Boiler Room, dude.
Is there
Yeah,
It's not even the
but
same.
isn't that about like sports betting or something?
the documentary?
This guy?
Yeah.
No, it's like a fucking Wall Street movie, dude. Fucking.
Oh, right.
Oh, shut the fuck out of here.
No one appreciates a good pun.
So there's a lot of phones everywhere, right?
Yeah. There's a bunch of
fucking
people doing
blue
coke.
collar. Yeah, exactly.
Fucking Ben Affleck gonna show up with Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel doesn't know how to trade stocks. That motherfucker. That's when I knew this movie was bullshit.
Yeah, Joe Pesci's a shit lawyer too, huh?
First of all, there's no family
Italian,
in
so
the
I'll give
boiler
it to him.
room. I guess there was family. Did he
Uncle
say
Vin.
there's family? There is. I think he said there's family in the boiler room because they went and they
Oh,
beat up those other
shit.
people. That's
I
his-
spread some of my seed in a boiler room once.
Oh my god.
Bored. It was Christmas.
Or twice.
Nothing
Dude,
going on.
Those Christmas
I would
bonuses,
not doubt
dude.
for a minute that you
Christmas
jacked it at work.
bonerness.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
What?
I would not doubt for a minute you jacked it at work.
You're telling me you've never jacked it at work?
I guess.
Okay, don't give me that shit.
What do you want from me?
He's like,
Hey, listen, if I'm an engineer in my world, dude, trust me, dude, we're creating some fucking magical things.
right. Let me draw you up
Right.
a schematic real quick and
Yeah.
take that to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure everyone's jacked it at work at least one time or another.
I haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You haven't?
So-
Not yet.
He's gonna have to go. It's because you have to put a mask on your dick. Which
I
still,
mean, I thought about it, but I was like, nah.
I've been topped off at work, but we're not going to talk about that.
don't you work with only guys?
Yeah, dude, that's big.
Perfect. Yeah,
Hey,
about that.
Hey, when those performance reviews come around, man, people get fucking
I want that
desperate. People get desperate, dude.
Hey, we need something to soften that leather. Come on now.
Talk about that
Soften
desk,
that load. Okay, let me lay on my back.
Yeah.
that desk height. You know, what I'm
Fight
talking
against gravity.
about? Yeah. Let's see if you fit under my desk here. 1 second.
Yeah, right. Oval Office is good.
Get the shoehorn, just get some leverage. Why don't you go ahead and see how well you fit underneath here?
You're,
I don't think I feel.
yeah, it
Yeah.
fits.
Shh, shh, shh.
Don't
Security's
bite down.
coming.
Don't
Yeah,
bite down.
But, yeah, this is your very own piece of a fluid flame boiler.
Nice, dude.
Perfect.
It's the old generation though, so it's not. They've gone to different designs that make a rounded head on it, so it's a little bit more
Humanish.
phallic looking.
Right.
But really, you remember the way they changed it though for the most recent is they made them about 6 inches in diameter, and it's about as tall, and the holes are about as big as my. That's about as big as my pinky.
That's
is.
a
And
significant
if people don't
difference.
know,
Holy shit.
Jim's
Oh, yeah.
pinky is about the size of an average man's dick. Like, it's huge.
Pretty good size
that's-
pinky.
There you go, showing it again.
There it is.
By the way, the camera adds 10 inches.
yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah.
Looks like 16 inches.
Yeah, it looks like 2 ends up 16. Sure, that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah,
a sponsor.
Talk
Uh-huh.
to Conan O'Brien about that. But the reason why they made that big change is the difference between this one's designed for burning wood. Those big ones that are just fucking like that big around and just big fucking stubbies is for burning garbage.
Oh shit.
When you're burning garbage, everything gets corroded, eroded, cracked, broken. It is a maintenance nightmare. Like
Jeez.
there's just like think of all the money you spent in maintenance at that mill you worked at.
Right.
That's like 3 weeks worth of what they do. Like they're fixing pumps every other month. There's a vibration issue in the pump that they got to fix, and they just can't wait to shut down for it. And even when they do get a shutdown, they're like, well, we got 10 other things that are more important to fix, so that pump's going to have to fucking wait.
See, that's the shit that we ran through the whole time when I was there is, we got to do some PM work, which is a
Pre-maintenance.
Preventative maintenance, yeah. You get ahead of it.
Yeah.
That's close.
And
So
which
you're the
pretty
short
much,
guy and they stuffed your ass in the boiler. Get your fucking ass in there.
Oh,
you little
I've cleaned
little
multiple
bitch.
boilers, dude. Yeah, I've been in there.
bitch ass having it.
Dude, we had a big ass motherfucker get in there with us too, but you can
Really?
fit. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I've been in lots of boilers.
Right. I had a guy who's
You
about
can
Jim's
think real
size,
small.
but about another 60 pounds on him, and
Yeah,
it's just how you
I'm a
stretch
skinny
in the
fuck
fucking
right
door.
now.
Fuck that shit. I ain't
But-
getting in there.
No,
Been
they'd come
riding the
around
desk
doing the
too long.
PMs and whatnot, and it's like, hey, well, instead of PMing that, why don't you fix what the fucking problem is? Which is this, and like, yeah, we'll get to it. We got to get these work orders out, and it's they never keep
Dude,
up.
you
There's
always-
never enough time to keep up.
You always told
That's
me
why you-
stories about that, like how equipment, like for sure, was not
Yeah.
not functioning
Just
correctly.
duct tape together.
And they're like, "Hey, dude, how about you just have a great night tonight, and we'll see you tomorrow morning or whatever." And you're like, "Oh, cool, dude." And then the fucking thing's just spinning off. It's fucking Homer Simpson hitting all the switches on the fucking nuclear controls. With
I got fucking hanger bearings going out. You just hear, wee, wee. It's like, dude, that thing's about ready to go fucking tits any minute. Call fucking maintenance. Yeah, well, we're kind of caught up right now. It's like the plant's running. I can hear it. We have walkie-talkies. Everything's running smoothly. It's like, you ain't doing shit, dude.
yeah.
It's like, okay, well, when it goes tits to the
Dude,
wall,
he just cracked a bag of Fritos, man. He's he's gonna be busy for a minute,
Yeah.
dude.
he's doing some fucking maintenance on that dick in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I got other things to
I'm
do.
rubbing one out.
Sorry, man.
Yeah, that's why you got a outage schedule. It's like, okay, for the first hour, we're going to fix that piece. For the next hour, we're going to go fix that piece. These other people are calling in. You rally all the troops and you get everybody on
Well,
board. And if
but
they're
when you run
taking
a
this
skeleton
laissez-faire
crew,
attitude,
it's
you
like,
kick them in the ass until they
What
start
makes you
doing it.
money? The line makes you money. So that's number one, in case anything happens. Or if the line goes
Oh,
down,
yeah.
it's such a big deal, right? But it's like, okay, how about you hire 2 more asshats who can just circle the fucking wagon and come around and start fixing things behind it, so when things go down, you don't have to pull like your main crew off to go fix things, and then you just keep it oiled. That would be the smart way to do it. But then people, it's too much money.
I think
Is it?
I've
If you got to
heard
pay
people
60
accuse
grand a
that
year
That's the thing,
compared
running
well,
as
that-
smart
compared to
as they could.
500 grand when something breaks.
The problem is that's money ahead and not money at the time. And this is that's literally what preventative maintenance is. This is
if
the
it's
problem.
done right.
This is the problem that people have with their cars, right? They're like, oh, at 120,000 miles, I'm supposed to replace this, that, and the other, and do whatever. They're going to spend the $1,800. What they're going to do is they're going to put another $30K on, and then all of a sudden that $1,800, $1,600, whatever, turns into fucking $3K or new transmission or whatever the fuck it might be.
It's called the fucking oil change, people.
Because it's the money up front to prevent issues ahead versus issues now.
Right.
Pro
Oh, yeah.
dinosaur.
Like
And it's
dire
also,
issues now.
Also believing that if I ignore this for longer, I don't actually have to spend money on it.
Under the rug, dude.
It's a
It's
boiler.
like,
it's in the
hey,
dark.
Hey, it'll keep working.
Nobody
Well,
knows.
yeah. But
Yeah.
Hmm?
We don't fucking I don't play that game.
It's like the boilers. It's hidden. It's out of sight, out of mind.
Oh, my old
That's the
my old
main
boss
thing that runs
had
everything.
my old boss had a phrase for boilers on like lumber mills and shit. Exactly for that reason you just said is like, hey, we make like there's a paper mill we did a plant for, and they said, but the operator was touring us around. He said we make white paper over there, we make cardboard over there, and that thing he pointed to the energy system that we put in makes us no damn money at all. But that system was saving them $6 million a year in fucking landfill fees.
Right.
So it's like,
So it does make you money though. $6 million.
it kept them from spending money,
That's money.
but it didn't cog up to him
Yeah.
in his backwards dumbass mind.
Yeah,
Well,
efficient-
if it's an
efficiency-
operator, it's because he's not the owner seeing the bills or white checks or what he has to pay for.
The
He's-
owner's the one that said, "Yeah, let's do it." He's one
Yeah,
of
'cause
the
it makes
operators making
sense.
that decision.
Yeah,
'Cause
you're
all of a
making
sudden we made the
14
operators
bucks
do
an
a
hour,
shit
dude.
ton
Get
more
outta here.
work.
So I go to I go to my guys often, and I go, hey, how's everything going? How's production? How's things? How are things moving along?
Yeah.
Give me that
And
shoehorn.
And what are the sticky areas? what are the sticky areas we have? And if they go, hey,
Your
man,
pants.
this machine or this tool would make things a lot easier and faster. You have to calibrate and calculate those decisions. Like,
Oh,
okay,
yeah,
well, within 3 months the thing pays for itself, or within a month it pays for itself. Then it's surplus, right?
Right.
And it's hard to go back and make that decision because right now I'm not spending anything and things are going just fine.
It's real hard to see indirect costs of things. It's
Correct.
real easy to see direct costs of things.
Right.
So it's like, is this something that's going to go on my expense sheet
Right.
as a bottom line item or add to my income? But if you're looking at like, something like with another boiler plant example, if you're keeping your steam traps well maintained,
Yeah.
they're the things that keep your steam from leaking through and just getting wasted.
Right.
Because if you have one steam trap that's stuck, you got a line that's going to take 1 or 2% of your total steam production all the time, just wasting it, and you're not going to get any usefulness out of it. But it's hard to see that because, well, we spend this much on fuel. Well, how much of that is from the steam trap that's leaking? I don't know. Put it,
Well, here's
nobody can really put a
here's
figure
an,
on
like,
it.
and even
I
an
can
example.
say, well, I could estimate that for you, but they come around and say, well, it's not really that important, is it? But it's the attitude of, I'm going to cut corners where I can to try and save money, and that attitude ends up costing you more in the long run because all of a sudden your shit doesn't work as well. You got more breaks. You got more. Your maintenance people is going all over the damn place.
Well, you have pissed off staff too, and that actually has a huge cost as well. Right?
Exactly.
That's fully unknown.
Well,
because you don't know if you're going to lose that person or if they're going to do less work because of the problems.
Well, it's even like when I quit that job, the guys like laughed it off, and I gave him my 2 weeks. I'm like, no, I'm serious.
Yeah.
What? Why? I'm like,
yeah, no shit.
What? Why?
Yeah.
Like, how far back do you want to go back? Like,
I can tell you in my exit interview.
Yeah, exactly. And I did. I was the first person to do one. Then it became a thing. But
you learn a lot in exit
like
interviews,
even
especially in places like that.
Right.
When you take a long-time employee like you that says, hey, this place is fucked.
Yeah. How many times have I issued up ideas that would save us money? Like, especially for being the boiler operator, it's like when all these things are going on, and you constantly see the ups and downs, the in and outs of like what you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, and then it comes back to you, and like, this is what I think would actually really help us. And I'm like, yeah, like fix it. Like, we had a problem with our Sanderdust delivery system one time, which is we ran that boiler off of Sanderdust. We're like one of 2 mills in the United States that ran it off of Sanderdust, I believe, or maybe.
It's not that uncommon, but
compared to what this Sanderdust was from the board, compared to being like shavings of a board that they burned off.
Yeah, most places burn sawdust if they
do.
And suspension boilers, because the way they burn that dust was they put it into a big fan, and that air stream made it spin and whatnot. And they would just use that to burn it, just like propane or something like that.
That's so weird. So how did you get involved in the same industry just that Aaron here is involved in, but from a different aspect? Like, did you choose an engineering career in that path?
Well, I chose an engineering degree, and I like to play with fire.
He was involved in it in a smart way. I was just
another.
Lucky enough to run him, if you will.
No, well, it was. We were coming at it from different sides.
Right.
I had the good fortune of getting hooked up with a local business owner who knew his shit and said, hey, I like your skill set. I like the fact you grew up on a farm. I know you know how to work. I'm going to teach you the business. And it's not really something I went to school for terribly much, other than the fact that my chemical engineering degree talks about chemical reactions, and that's somewhat of what a fire is. It's
combustion is definitely a chemical reaction.
Yeah, but in terms of chemical reaction engineering, you don't need a chemical engineer to do that. They've already figured it out. It's in a table. You just look up on the table where you set the settings, and off you go, for the most part. So, like, you're not going to usually get a chemical engineer who's doing furnace tuning and shit like that. It's usually there's just too much schooling that goes beyond what that is required. Like, chemical reaction engineering is usually like, okay, we're going to be reacting... like, we're going to make ammonium nitrate by reacting.
When I give Joe an acid bath and we see how fast his skin melts off is kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Right.
So
that's like a fertilizer thing, ammonium nitrate?
Yeah, that's a fertilizer thing.
Yeah.
It's just the first chemical that came to mind. I mean, there's
a
shit ton of them. Like, brewing beer is very much on the end of what chemical engineers do from a process standpoint. But it's not like
well, that makes sense because you're making other compounds from chemical reactions.
Yeah. You're predicting what the yeast is going to do, and you say, okay,
it's going to infect
the flocculation, dude.
Oh yeah, hey, that's some important shit. So what you do is you can take that and react a vessel that's fucking
Yeah.
12,000 gallons.
That's the thing that changes, right? So then there's a thermal component too to flocculation, like when the yeast divides, separates, and then multiplies, and they're giving off this carbon dioxide. The larger the vessel, and the more yeast creates a thermal component that can also kill the yeast, which is hilarious. So
you
have to
the
figure out
yeast is bound and determined to kill itself.
yeah, you have
it's
to figure out
shit kills it. It's the temperature kills it. Like the alcohol. If
Not
you
at
let the alcohol get too
96.8
high,
degrees though.
beer is a really interesting thing. Yeah,
It's very
That yeast
It does.
lives.
Oh,
It
we
lives.
talking about
You gotta
brewing?
get penicillin.
Fuck
no,
yeah.
the beer yeast will die. Beer yeast will die at
Sorry.
I told them on
you
the
can't get it too
78 and
hot.
higher is you're starting to get into some degradation there.
I told Aaron on the last podcast that I'm growing a mushroom. Well, I have been growing a mushroom.
That's a whole different thing, dude.
It's called lion's mane.
Oh,
okay.
yeah, those are popular.
Yeah,
And
those are pretty valuable, aren't they?
Yeah.
yeah, and it's super good. I guess what do they call it? Like not plucking, but taking the fruiting body off and cooking it. So I just did that about 2 weeks ago, and now it's already back. Got another fruiting body on it, but I was trying to. The only state that does what is it? The magic mushroom stuff. What's that shit called?
Psilocybin.
Psilocybin, yeah.
Psilocybin is Oregon is the only state that allows you to grow it. But I was trying to do some research on that, and ever since I started Googling mushrooms, my phone has just been blowing up on fucking
They got kids
like-
now and shit, dude.
health movement and fucking aliens and all.
What is the thing about the mushrooms? It's the adaptogens. That's what they're talking about. Whitney just started using a mushroom powder additive in her coffee. Yeah. She well,
Well,
she says there's a lot of health benefits and shit. For
they,
it.
they
So
say
it's
this
like
lion's
she's
mane
working
is. They say this lion's mane is supposed to repair nerve cells and shit,
I'd believe it.
and help with cognitive ability and shit. And I was like, I felt smarter when I took it.
Well, that's
It's not
the thing.
hard for you.
Micro dosing psilocybin has a lot of improvements on cognitive disorders like depression and schizophrenia and anxiety.
That's what I want to get into next is the psilocybin fact. Well, I actually this summer I'm gonna turn the shop into there's gonna be a whole bunch of fucking mushroom shit growing out here. There's one.
You're gonna shut us down.
Yeah,
Shut down before
Put
you
that
do
out
TikTok.
publicly.
So
There's
there's-
all kinds of shit growing in here.
So
dude. Fuck yeah.
my thought was
Remember, this is still a state that doesn't legalize.
I was gonna make a little composting business idea. So the oyster mushrooms, which you can get, are known to break down plastic, and not only plastic, but they use them in landfills in India to break down baby diapers.
Oh, sure.
So my thought was
It's because they have
baby
those
diapers.
Indian
Yeah.
shits, dude. I've had Indian
The
most
curry.
of the time, man.
India's
super-
well
It's-
known.
my
In,
shits are horrible, dude. I'm lighting
East
up
Asia, they
porcelain.
comprise something
India's
like
well
12%
known for
of
their
total landfill.
Breaking down. My porcelain breaks down.
Yeah.
That's usually because
My
you
business
drop something
thought-
sharp or heavy hard on it.
It's Indian food, son.
my business
I
thought
don't
was
think curry shatters porcelain.
You haven't seen my shits.
it could.
I shattered Miss Curry's porcelain.
Anyway, my business thought was to make a container with either the enzyme, isolate the enzyme, which I'm surprised they haven't done this yet, or just have the oyster mushrooms grow, and then new moms can throw their diapers in this box, and the mushrooms would break it down. For those that are conscientious about
Dude, that's a whole
That's a
self
great
kit you
idea.
could sell
You'd
right
have to
now.
know.
that's what I was saying.
Well,
And
self-kit,
it's
yeah.
also
Great idea, but
hashtagged here on 3 Shots Podcast first.
So
Um,
so I'm
don't
getting out there on the air. So that was my thought, because this book I was reading, I've read
Trademark pending.
I've read 10 mushroom books already. The Lion's Mane has helped. It says it can break down cigarette butts and tar and shit. So it does all this
So it breaks down fiberglass?
yeah, it can break down
Damn.
all this okay.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it'll break down everything from that, and they also are using.
Well, sounds like some fucking meth heads use that
they're
for a
using-
toothbrush
they're
or a
using
toothpaste
some
on a
of-
toothbrush.
they're
You know what I
using
mean?
some of it to break down the radiation in Chernobyl and nuclear waste. The mushrooms will just come and eat it up.
No, that would get you high.
That doesn't
You ate
make
those
any
ones.
damn sense.
Yeah,
It's
they're-
breaking down radiation.
They're out there. Well, I don't know if it breaks it down, but eats it
Probably
up.
absorbs it.
Gets rid of it. It cleans it
It
up.
becomes a radioactive mushroom.
Yeah, then you,
you
eat
can-
that fucker and trip balls for weeks.
Look,
Oh,
look
so
at-
it filters it
look
and
at
gathers
Jim's
it up like a
so
filter,
it
and you can take
filters.
the mushroom
Yeah, so
and
it
throw it
filters
away.
the soil out, kind of thing. That's
Oh
what
yeah,
mushroom-
but the
that's
animals
what
over there are
mushrooms
growing
all-
just fine.
That's
The
what
animals
mushrooms
are doing
But
fine.
that's
Why
what
do you
mushrooms
expect
do,
we to
though.
Right.
mix it
Isn't
up?
that's what mushrooms do? They're the filtration of the soil, basically.
Well, it's usually a breaking down organic content.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And,
With
and
the-
even plastic is organic after a fashion because it came from
Earth itself.
carbon-based
right.
life forms, right? All
What
that
they're-
shit.
What they're finding now, honestly, like the current literature and the current science is that the planet is actually a lot more capable of recovering than we once thought. And so what they're finding now is
We were wrong.
instead of burying
That's
trash,
fucking believable.
check this out. Instead of burying
right.
trash, the countries that burn it ethically, like burn it like optimally, they're finding that it has no degradation or little degradation to the ecosystem compared to burying it. And so,
Yeah, I believe that.
well, we're also gonna eventually run out of real estate, right? I mean, like you
Yeah, I
even look
don't
at
know,
our
though.
look at our own town. Like we're running out of spots to put this shit, right?
Speaking of our own town, there's a housing place in
In the
CDA
middle of us.
that was built on
Yeah.
a actual fucking I almost said cemetery burial ground.
Landfill?
A landfill, and a person that we know owned a house,
Well, Quad Park was in Post Falls.
and a second person owns said house,
Oh, that sucks.
and the house is like next to that house we're actually settling, and the foundation
Yeah.
was breaking down and whatnot. And
Well,
like, oh, we didn't know. It's like, yeah, because they didn't have to fucking disclose that to you.
Well, they're supposed to actually. There's laws. I don't know how they are if they're state.
They
to state.
change after like 82 or some shit. where-
A certain amount of years go by and they're able to bury it.
Or
And they
2002.
have to have tests done. But you have to imagine, dude, if the plastic is going to take hundreds of years to actual biodegrade, then yeah, dude, you build a house on top of it and the shit's going to move around.
but that's again with
Yeah, change of structure,
what
and
do
then
we
all of a
have
sudden there's a
here?
void. It's going to settle just like
in
a
our
sinkhole.
soil.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
you got limestone working away and
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
yeah,
Or
dissolving
gas
with
is
the rain.
percolating in
Do
there.
you think if you had
Yeah.
houses built over plastic that you would actually still have radon? You think that would be able to keep enough of that down?
No, radon's is natural. It's just
No, no,
iodized.
no,
It's
I-
iodized
no,
lead. It's just
but it
gonna
comes
come
from the
out.
soil.
Yeah, it's
No, it
just-
comes from the rocks.
comes from
Right,
the rock.
right.
It's gonna just
But-
come out though.
But if you had a plastic layer over the top of that, so say
That's
it
what
was-
they do.
but it's not a-
that's what they do in crawl spaces though. They put plastic layers down.
Yeah.
there, but
No, what they do
Yeah,
with
but that's a
radon.
vapor barrier though. That's
Yeah,
not
that's
for
not
radon.
it's
that's not
for-
radon.
Yeah,
No,
because I don't
if
think
you have
can
radon
protect
in your
against
house, what they
radon
do is they
other than
vent
venting
it.
Well, it's like
They go to your sub pump or the lowest spot in your house, and they actually vent it, the trap from the lowest spot of your house, and then they vent it out the top of your house.
oh yeah,
That's
my,
what they
my
do with
folks have a
radon.
radon system like that,
Right.
and it pisses my mom off to no end because it's in the fan is in the attic, and so you're in the guest bedroom and the closet is
hear
where
it?
they ran it. Oh, all the goddamn
I
time.
bet. Yeah.
It just pisses her off because it's like there's no better solution for this.
better
to
than
be.
dying.
So she came up with a real smart idea, and we're
To
gonna see
me.
if we can do it.
But
And
I thought
it
like
involves a perforated pipe and one of them fucking horizontal drills that they use for throwing wire
oh yeah,
underneath
yeah.
roads and shit.
That makes sense.
She's like, hey, go into the horse pasture, dig under the house, put one of these pipes under there so we can put a fucking fan on it on one of the fence posts and have it away from the house so we don't have to listen to the goddamn thing.
That makes sense.
Oh yeah, I was like, damn, mom, that might be one of the smartest ideas you've ever had. Technically speaking,
do they have a
she's a whiz
basement?
otherwise, but
Do they have a basement though, or is
oh
it
yeah,
just-
yeah, yeah. It's
Oh,
a
that's
it's a
probably
full
why.
basement, yeah.
Okay, that's
Because they
why.
have a rancher with everything on the main floor, but they also did a basement at the same time.
So they can't really vent it out other than. the
Well, they
radon.
do have a radon system, but it's not big enough or effective enough to keep the level of radon in the basement down because the other half of the basement isn't treated. So think of your basement like this big rectangle, and you drilled a hole in the foundation over here, and it pulls air from outside of the foundation wall, which is basically where the radon gas rises up through.
Yeah.
And you pull all the air from the outside of your foundation to that point and vent it, so it basically gives it an easier way to get out
Do they
rather
have a
than
sub
going
pump?
through the basement. Yeah, they do.
And
It's
it-
in the same. It's in the
I
maintenance
was
room.
gonna say
It's
it
in the
should
same
be in
room.
the same. It should be in the same room as your sub pump.
Well, the basement's all the same level. They just put it there because they had radiant heat everywhere else. Because the guy
That's
was
you-
saying,
but
"Hey, we
that's-
got to put in another radon system." My mom
that
was
makes
like,
it
"The fuck you are."
That makes it complicated in drilling into the
Oh yeah.
basement if there's heated flooring, right?
Oh, it's a pain in the ass. Yeah, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, because doing any plumbing work after they put that shit in there, dude, is like impossible.
You have to like have it lined out before you start, and
Yeah, but those things are so close together, it's like hard to run shit in between.
yeah,
them.
they're spaced out about
yeah, it's
3
like
or 4 inches.
4 inches, yeah.
yeah. But God, that radiant heat in the basement of that house is fucking fantastic.
Oh, it's fucking nice,
awesome.
yeah, but man, any
Yeah,
issues,
if you're gonna
fucked.
if you're gonna do that, you got to make sure that you like, hey, let's have holdouts for places we might put ports or something like
Yeah,
that.
accessory.
I get to talk about boilers again because there's this clever thing that they do for, in some furnaces they use the steam tubes for the walls. They call them membrane tube walls because they got this little bit of steel welded in between them that forms a vapor barrier.
Mm-hmm.
So you got tube, and then you got a piece of steel, and you got another tube.
Run through the wall.
And so there's times when you got to put something through that, and it can't necessarily be small. So the way they do it is they put in what's called a May West. And so you got these boiler tubes coming up, right? Well,
That's the opposite of a Kanye West, right?
No, it's older and more sexy.
Gotcha.
Uh-huh. So you take the tubes that are all spaced out like 1.5 inches apart, and then you put them on top of each other. So you got a hole big enough that you can put something through.
Ooh,
Gotcha.
I like
Okay.
that shocker.
Sounds like Kanye West.
That shocker movement you got there.
Yeah, it's
Bam.
almost like a
some tubes
Vulcan
in you, know what I'm saying?
Confar thing. Yeah.
Like the guy from Goonies. What's his
I
name?
had a question for all you fellas, and especially with Jim on,
Yes,
because I was
6
thinking about
inches.
this. Is that
I have an answer that will blow your mind.
hopefully what's her name?
By the way, the
Daryl.
Nice.
the
My
mushrooms.
mind's blowing my mind. No, so I was thinking about this. Is you guys remember like being younger and like
Nope.
getting taught how to
All
be
the time.
polite, how to be endearing and yourself, and so like especially if somebody was to talk to you, it was like you had to be extremely respectful, answer yes, no,
Yes, sir,
look them
no,
in the
sir.
eyes, right?
Yeah. Yes and no, not really.
And
but yeah.
and that's just kind of how we're all brought up for the most part, or if not brought up that way,
We all
from
should
at least
have
having
been brought up
friends that way, you learned like their habits and
Sure.
connected with people that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I've been thinking about this for a long time, not a long time, but recently. And anytime I go anywhere now, and like say, especially more public places like restaurants, bars, whatever the case is, order a drink,
Strip
order some
clubs.
food. It's always I'm starting to get this, and it's from the younger crowd. It's like, yeah, can I get a Bud Light? Or whatever the case may be. Like, yeah. I'm like, all right, thank you. Like, I appreciate you, and I'm getting this every time. Or cheers. And this has been going on for like the last year, and it's been like dawning on me, and then also being daunting on me at the same time. Is like, why are you guys so like fucking apologetic and like happy with giving me thing? Like, you appreciate me for what? Like, for my $1 that I gave you for the beer, but it's a younger person's crowd, and now I'm starting to fucking hate it. Like, anytime someone goes, like, I order something, like, hey, thanks, man, or hey, thank you, like, yeah, I appreciate you. I'm like, it's so like not like
I've never had anyone
truthful.
ever.
Not genuine.
I've had
Yes.
that happen.
It's-
yeah.
It's like almost condescending. You would say.
I almost said disconcerting. I couldn't think of it. Yes, it almost feels condescending. It's like,
Patronizing.
I appreciate you. I'm like, what? Or cheers. I'm like, you're not drinking with me, bitch. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, cheers. How about
I've
here you
never,
go?
I've never had
And
a server do that.
it's almost seems like it's so fake. It fucking bugs me. Have you guys felt this or experienced this at all?
Snowflake, you bothered by that shit?
No, I'm glad. Like, at first, I was like, hey, I appreciate you. I'm like, oh, thank you. But then you hear it from the same server. It's like their tagline every time they give you something. It's like, okay, like, stop.
Yeah,
it.
there's
I don't think I've told any of my friends in this room that I appreciate them.
Well,
I told them I loved them, I liked them, and everything. But it just seems like it's just thrown out there. Where
I
it's
would
like,
say-
hey, I appreciate that you did that for me. Thank you. But
Yeah, I would say like personally, like I do use that specific phrasing like with my friends. Like sometimes just to let them know that like I genuinely and sincerely appreciate them for what.
and that's
for
what it
the
should be meant for.
conversation. Yeah, exactly. And this is.
It's
I-
like
I
them
have
giving you a
this-
beer and being like, I love you. You're like,
Yeah.
what?
Yes.
Like-
You just said it. I have the same problem with people that say I love you, because if you say I love you to your dad and you say I love you to your spouse and you say I love you to like your closest people to you, but then you throw it away and you start saying I love you to fucking everybody, then what value does it have?
Right.
Right? So saying like I appreciate you as a waitress or a waiter to somebody that you don't know.
Well, there's different levels of that too.
It's super weird.
Well,
Because
one time, sure.
he
Like,
is like-
hey, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming
Like,
out.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, as you're ending your night.
Appreciate it,
Perfect.
guys. Yeah, thank you. Have a
But
good night.
if it's my first beer, like, hey, I just want a nap real quick. Like, I appreciate you. Then I appreciate you. It's like, what
because
are we
then
doing here?
then you could say I'm thanking you for being good patrons the entire time you were here. You behaved yourselves. You didn't give me a
Yeah.
ration of shit. It's like, okay, there's something to be appreciative of
Right.
rather than just buying the beer, because
appreciate
any
the whole
asshole can
thing.
just buy the beer.
Exactly. It's like
But-
if you go buy a 6-pack at a gas station, the guy goes, I appreciate you. As
Well-
he hands you shit.
well,
What? Like, what the
Okay,
fuck?
I think I understand what's bothering you about it. It's
Break it down.
The redundancy.
well, it's
Too early.
the modern generation is less robust. So they need
eat some fucking food.
affirmations of positive things more often. And so if you're saying, I appreciate you, which should be, well, isn't something that was really culturally said much when we were growing up.
No.
Granted,
Never.
you appreciated people, but it's like, hey, I appreciate
Thank
that.
You. Exactly.
You associate it with things.
Right.
And if you're
You came
going
over, you
out of
shoveled
your
my
way,
roof. Hey, man, thanks. I
hey,
really appreciate
that.
it.
I
I appreciate
I
that.
can't
Yes.
Saved my ass.
I appreciate it.
spell
Appreciate that.
appreciate,
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
I want to use it.
You can spell appreciate. Good Lord.
Don't give him props.
Joe, if you had to spell them all, dude, you only have like a 12-word vocabulary.
Yeah.
So
Spelling bee for the next shot. Appreciate.
APP.
Shot. SHAT.
Chat.
Yeah, right. So you're taking exception to the culture acknowledging and giving people that positive affirmation at every step, which in a way says, well, you're not robust enough to go on without that.
Right.
And we all need examples to look at that says, hey, I'm a tremendous pussy. I can be tougher. You
Well,
know?
it's the same.
And that
Pussies can be
and
tough.
saying and overstating things like that. Because I'm always thankful for
Right.
people helping me.
right.
Like if there's like the barista at the coffee bar, hey, thanks.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
I know
But-
how I'm going to end
Or
this
you're
night.
doing a good job. Hey, I'm
fucked
thanks
up,
for
not
the
remembering.
coffee. Yeah, like you're helping
I
me out.
appreciate you
Right.
coming out.
Oh yeah.
Well, and that's the thing too. It's like it even comes to the point. It's like we've all had friends or have been that friend where it was like, saying like, I'm not good enough. I'm not good after everything. I can't do it. And it's like, dude, stop fucking saying that. Like just
yeah,
like,
it's
it's like, man, I can't do this. Can you help me? Sure, but after everything, even they're doing it correctly or like,
That's
thank
the
you,
defeatist-
thank you,
the
thank you,
defeatist
thank you. Like,
mentality.
stop telling me fucking thank you, dude. The job's not done. I put 1 nail in. Like, I got 1,000 more to put in. Like, I don't need you hovering over me. Thank you, clink. Thank you, clink. And
Yeah.
so it's weird concept.
And I'm the guy that just looks at you and goes, "Hey, fuck off about time, dude. 20 years of friendship, dude. And you finally put in some work around here,
Right,
So,
exactly. After I've been working that ass for at least
yeah,
15.
waxing that ass, dude,
Right.
So
So I mean, I don't hear a thank you for that, bitch.
You know, so it's like
no, I feel
appreciate you though.
like Jimbo hit it like with we're too loose and too free with it, and I almost feel disingenuous. Like even going through a drive-through line, and the lady hands you your drink first. Oh, thank you. Then she hands you the bag. Thank you. Then she hands you the fucking receipt. And it's like, man, I almost feel bad, like even saying it, that many times. You know what I mean? But I am like, I'm trying to be courteous.
The problem is
But
the
also-
drive-through.
well,
Go
But
through those
also, I don't give a
burgers.
fuck, right? Like if there's no hot sauce in that motherfucker when
He's
I get
coming
home,
out. Fuck your bag.
if there's no hot sauce in that motherfucker, dude, I'm telling you what, bro, you better put the dog outside, man. You know what I mean? Don't even get the dog within 4 feet of me, dude, because I'm gonna be a punter all of a sudden,
Comes up. Hey, Dad. He's like, "Bark!"
yeah,
fuck?
yeah, dude. So
He's got hot sauce
Yeah,
stuffed in
and
his
it's
collar
not-
for next time.
it's not a bad thing to expect a good product for what you're paying for.
Right.
Because if you're out buying, paying for food, it's like, hey, you know how hard I had to work to earn this damn money? How much of my time am I putting into that dollar bill that I'm paying you for this food? And I'm doing it because
Wasted 2
there's a
minutes on
promise
stage.
that it'll be what I expect it to be, or at least what you represent it to be.
Sure.
Now, so that sometimes you
that's-
get misconceptions about, well, I thought that was on the menu. Well, it's not. Oh, well, fuck, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like,
And
move
then
on.
you go, I
it's
don't
like-
but-
appreciate you.
so I talk to Jess about this all the time. I'm like, one thing that I hate, dude, is when people meet you with like the craziest energy, like when they walk in the door and they're just like, "Hey, how are you? What are you doing?" And they're
So
like,
me every
Like
time I enter a
TGI
room,
Fridays,
They're
my
kind of
voice.
like 30 pieces of flair,
they're
that kind of
12
shit.
fucking octaves above you, and you're like,
That's me normally,
"Yeah, I'm
bud.
fucking doing great,"
I'm
like,
gonna need you to tone it down a bit.
Yeah, I hate that shit. So like when I meet people and they're like, "I'm doing stupendous, tremendous, fucking," and they got all these like hype beast sayings,
Tremendous.
Exclamatious.
and I'm
And,
like,
and everybody's thinking in the back of their heads, why is it that I just hate that guy?
Right.
yes, well, it comes across so disingenuous. So I think like what Aaron was saying earlier, like you have to be careful because if you start coming across like it's almost untrustworthiness, right? When someone like comes to you and says those things, like
Well, it's like,
with
you want to spend all of your time thanking other people. Like thanking people is important, but doing things is also important. And
It is.
and to be compassionate for them. I mean, people who need charity, be compassionate for. Be compassionate for everyone. You should love everyone because
Dude, I'm a charity case.
Because we all have that, divine spark that is innately just huge potential. We all have that. Even people who have made huge mistakes, you can still make a shit ton of yourself.
Sure.
So, discouraging words and that
Right.
kind of shit might turn that potential into wasted chaos. So why not be happy towards other people and helpful and but sometimes love takes the form of you're fucking up right now.
Yeah.
And I need to tell you, I want what's best for you. And that means quit fucking up.
Right.
Or when someone says, hey, how you doing? You turn to them and you go, hey, man, I'm doing all right, but
It's rough.
it's been fucking a crazy couple months or a couple weeks
Yeah.
or crazy year,
I
whatever
feel
it
like
is.
I'm left out with this server shit. I cannot recall ever in my life a server.
Yeah,
maybe
but
I'm
you
an
don't go
asshole.
out. But you don't go out as much because you got the kids and everything.
No,
lately.
yeah, true. But I don't ever recall a server being like, "I appreciate you."
This has
Or
been the
like
last
what Miles
year,
said at
dude.
the end.
Like the
at
last
the end,
year's
like
been
if
going
we're
on.
leaving, hey, appreciate it, thanks guys. Appreciate it is different than appreciate. There's an ed on the end of this thing. All right,
Well,
perfect. Thanks for
Joe's got some ED going on right now.
I'm not appreciating the action. I'm appreciating the person. It's it's somebody trying to shift the culture, and it
Right.
just feels weird. And it's okay, that's not what I'm used
Yeah.
to. But
I'm
okay,
not-
maybe that's what it turns into. So what? They got to make sense out of it the way they do. But what I'm also not on board with
You
is
out?
okay.
Nothing to interrupt your story, sorry.
I'm out.
Bye, Joey Crypto.
Bye, guys.
See you, buddy.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, I appreciate you, buddy. Thank you for
I
stopping by
appreciate
tonight.
you.
You're gone from the public discourse just like Luna.
Right. Ooh.
A little nod to Tom Segura there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See you, buddy.
guy.
See you, buddy.
Later.
He
Drive
just gave
safe,
us the
you
old
ugly mug.
Hail Hitler sign.
Waving.
Oh, hey, while you're up,
Asshole.
That arm's off.
While you're up.
The arm's above the shoulder, dude. That's a little sussy.
I don't know.
It's a little.
Adolf
40
is kind of flamboyant, so he might have
45
thrown
out
one
here.
out crazy.
is there a brewski over there?
Yeah, yeah.
Does it happen to have? I'm getting a little thirsty.
Got your fucking
It's a
name
little
all
Get
over
our
We
it.
need, we need some throat lubrication.
Hey, I
By the
appreciate
way,
Not the kind that Aaron would
I
put on.
appreciate the
Did
guest,
you-
so let's get him a drink.
What are these that you brought? What are those? What are those?
What are those?
These are the old standby acid Cuba Cubas.
I
These
don't-
are some of the best cheap cigars you can get.
Okay.
They're on board with everything, man. They're solid.
Really?
Can't say
Yeah.
ever.
This
Had
might have been the
acid
first
Cuba.
cigar I smoked when I was in college.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah. They've been around for a long time, and they're damn good. Yeah, here.
Yeah, yeah.
Surprised
Yeah,
got
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Just surprised I caught it.
Well, I
one of
guess
you-
the problem we're gonna have is
Hey, one of you
don't light the microphone
one
cover
of you
on
fuckers
fire.
are gonna owe me a couple puffs off one of them motherfuckers, man.
Well, here you have this one.
Start it up. I got it. No, you're the guest. You
What's
fucking
happening?
you suck on this one. Here you go.
Suck on this. I don't
Yeah,
have
Bud Light suck one.
I don't have
Sorry,
a
are
cutter.
you gonna?
Yeah, I'll come over and partake at some point. Okay, so yeah, that was just the. I was thinking about it because it was just
That'll do
so
it. Man up.
thrown in
Use a
your
knife.
face constantly, right? About the whole thing of appreciation and whatnot. So it was just kind of a weird thought I had. But I had a follow up question for you guys. And this one was, hopefully I wrote it correctly in my phone. I might have to read it real quick. But it goes, this goes for everybody. If you could be anybody for a year, right? Who would that person be? And would you do, hold on, give me a second. Let me rephrase this.
These are not. Yeah, these are nice, dude.
I'm telling you,
What
acid
is-
Cuba
what-
Cubas, man.
What is it dipped in? What is that?
No idea. I think that's just tobacco.
No, there's like something
There's
like
something else on there, like a sweet.
There's something sweet on there. Yeah,
Could
sugar or
be.
something.
Well, I mean, they do have different flavors, so I'm not sure what they finish it with, but
Okay.
it might just be a different kind of tobacco.
Wrote it wrong, but it's the same concept. Okay.
Go ahead, go for it.
If you guys could be anybody that you wanted to be for a year, would you do it? And if you would, who would it be? But the end of that part is knowing that at the end of the year you would have to have sex with someone else that also changed for a year too. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think you're venturing into the
Buddy.
realm of World of Warcraft icons having sex with each other.
Yeah, but are you talking about like
I think that's
is
definitionally
this
what you
still
just
like
asked.
heterosexual sex, or what are we talking about
Well,
here?
it depends, because like say you wanted to be fucking I don't know, Chris Hemsworth for a year,
Sure.
right? And so say you're doing all of his shit, you're having fun, he's out there smashing uglies, and one of the people towards the end of your year that you smash with is also somebody who said they wanted to be that person. Now, knowing that, I mean, I could have said I wanted to be Angelina Jolie, and Hemsworth was like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm going to smash with Angelina Jolie. So, would you take that randomness of a possibility of doing that for a year?
So wait, so whoever you're gonna decide to be, you have to have sex with at the end of the year.
No.
Well played, dude. Damn.
You pick someone that you want to be for a year.
Okay.
The last person that you have sex with, whoever that person may be,
Kind of a crap knife, though.
is also
They used to have
somebody who was in your spot who chose to be that person.
a window breaker on the end of it.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
No. Wait. Say it again.
Okay.
Fucking.
Here we go again.
All right,
Ready?
all ears on
'Kay.
number one here.
If you could choose to be any person that you wanted to for a year,
Okay.
knowing that the last person that you sleep with as that person, okay, the last person you sleep with
So like
is
if you're
also somebody in your spot where that person said, I wanted to be them for a year. Does that make sense?
So,
So
like somebody
say-
else that did the
so-
body swap.
Yes. Thank you.
So you got to have sex with another body swap.
right, but not knowing where if that's why the
That's
like,
so
if-
hard. That's like so hard to make that decision. Like, how the fuck do you even like rationalize that?
No, because I'm
well,
giving you all the
Joe.
truths out. So the difference is like, so say Joe wants to be Chris Hemsworth for a year, and the last person he sleeps with is say Angelina Jolie, but nobody knew that Miles wanted to be Angelina Jolie for a year.
So you're saying like someone that there could be a guy in a girl's body.
You get to pick whoever the fuck you want to be, dude. You want to be a fucking turtle
So
for
you're
a year.
trying to
Go do it.
dissociate.
So it's like what Jim said. You're having sex with another shapeshifter, or
Yeah. It's just like I'm reminded of this episode on The Big Bang Theory where they're like,
Terrible,
for all
terrible fucking show. Right off the top.
I agree with you 100%.
I think the show's fucking hilarious.
I can't stand
It's all fucking nerd jokes. That's right up my alley.
Yeah, but I can't stand fucking pumped in laughter. I cannot stand it. I fucking hate it. Any show that has pumped in laughter, it ruins everything for
To
me.
me, it's nothing. It's not even that. It's just every single person on there is a leftist with an agenda, and I fucking can't watch it. I can't watch it, dude. I can't. Every one of them, dude.
You have.
I
a
could
point.
probably get away, maybe,
like,
but it's just the implied.
The Gad guy, the singer and the snowman on Frozen. It's like, okay, he's got a great voice. His politics are nuts. He's
Isn't
a
it-
radical. It's like,
isn't that the
okay.
guy that plays in
And
that serial killer series too?
Josh Gad?
Yeah.
He's kind of chubby. You know what I'm talking about? Dark hair,
Nah,
isn't it?
no, that's not the same guy. I haven't seen Frozen though. I was thinking.
Well,
of-
he's
Fuck,
he,
dude.
he nailed the songs. Like, he sung really well. And as I understand it, he was rather unknown. But I can't, like, watch that movie with my kids and not think about how crazy he is
like his voice, and
listening to that.
just
No,
knowing it as
Right.
someone like it's like Alex Jones playing like, a Disney character, and you're like, holy shit, that's Alex Jones like right now.
That'd
Yeah,
be hilarious.
Yeah.
But
It's
Is
like,
it-
because
so
he
that-
doesn't want to live in the same world that I do.
That's
exactly. It's
That's
like
a good question. Like, do you guys ever like feel that way? Like when you see an actor or a movie star or a fucking rock star that you like love, and then you hear about a fucking bad take that they have politically, and does that ever ruin it for you?
No,
yeah, all of them.
Well,
do.
it depends on how bad
Not
of
for
a
me.
take it is.
I don't care because it's
I don't
just
watch
like
Jim Carrey shit
Trump,
anymore.
or it's
I
just
don't
like
watch-
professional
Jim
athletes.
Carrey's fucking off the hook, dude.
Yeah,
Don't care
it's
though.
just,
You don't know the guy. Like they're not your
do, like,
friends.
as you as a in that realm of light, what you say matters to a sense, because apparently the American culture is brought up on fame and idolizing fame.
Yeah.
Like, why do I care?
Idolizing fame,
Why do I?
not
why
the
do
person
I? Why do I
outside
care?
of said
Why
fame.
do I
It's not just
care that you
American
just made?
culture
it?
that
Why do I
does
care
that,
that you
though.
made a movie or that you can throw a fucking football? Sports and film is very asinine to me. It's like it's crazy in the fact that people give a fuck about this shit and they worship these people like the ground they walk on. So yeah, when you are in that realm of light, you have a standard to uplive, and you just can't say dumb shit. Like, you shouldn't be politically biased, in my opinion. When you're that, you should like most.
I hate that we have this much access to all these people. I think is where I'm at.
Yeah, and like
I almost like always regret it because all of my heroes become my enemies because it's like they have such hot takes, dude.
They do.
They
They
have
go
such
off on
hot-
a tangent.
everybody
But that's the
has
whole
flaws.
point of like
And the thing with-
disconcerting
And-
yourself and not being a part of it. Like, I don't care. This probably even got more.
You're a boomer.
Fluid
You
it
used to
out.
have a flip phone, dude. So I don't even want to fucking hear your
Well,
take.
and
I have a walkie-talkie.
the thing with Twitter though is like
Oh, my dad's
But
got a smartphone. Join
it's
the
the
revolution.
point of like Tom Brady being really good, whatever. Like, and if he comes out and says some shit on media, whatever he does, like, I don't care. I don't know him. I'm watching him on Sundays for this
Well,
time. I'm
here's
not
the
checking
thing.
his
Well,
Twitter.
that's a
I'm
little-
not checking his Facebook.
That's a
if
little
it's Aaron
different.
Rodgers, if Tom Cruise. I think Tom Cruise is a fucking awesome actor.
sports is
And
different.
he's crazy as fuck.
Sports-
But I don't care because he's not my friend. I
Okay.
don't talk to him.
So,
I don't have discussions.
There was this crazy thing that,
You know?
that
So
got
it
put
doesn't
out.
bother me.
That got put out.
Kim
because,
Kardashian
like,
has a nice pussy.
like
I don't
the
talk to
the
her.
TikTok-
She
so-
does not.
the-
That thing's wrecked,
the
bro.
It is
TikTok-
now. I saw it before.
like, with
Ray J.
the TikTok fad is so we all know like the Chinese like made TikTok or like it's owned by China.
Yep.
And the thing
Owned,
that
operated.
the thing that
Same with COVID.
the thing that like TikTok puts out
China.
for Americans is it puts
Owned.
out like
Okay, listen.
it puts out like dumb.
to me.
It puts out like
go and tell you these
dumb challenges that you have to do. It puts out fucking
Well, like, here's an example.
non-meaning
What
YouTubers out
was
there.
the,
It puts out all this dumb shit, but when you go to China's TikTok, they're putting out fucking Nobel Prize winners. They're
Mathematics.
putting out mathematics. They're putting out
Mathematics,
this
fucking
shit.
science.
Like, shit like
No
China
dancing.
follows.
There's no dancing
Like,
allowed on Chinese
nobody-
TikTok.
That
dude.
is a fucking
nobody
sheet over your
nobody
face.
gives a
You
fuck.
know what I mean?
Nobody
They
gives
did that
a
on
fuck
purpose.
that you have a PhD or made the world better. They want to know like
Well,
they at least in American culture, they want to know like how big's your tits and ass, and they want to know
Again, that's to a point. That's to what's flamboyant.
It's not a
and
point. It's very
no,
true.
Because no, it's not.
And
they're
also-
trying
It's
to
too, like-
change their culture so that their people gain more, and I can absolutely understand
which is
why
smart.
they would want to try
Why
and
would you
do
not
that.
do that?
But they're a tyranny, and so they can't grow as much as we can.
But
they don't, have a,
but,
they don't have a freedom of true
but-
thought.
but I can't.
yeah,
I can't
exactly.
name one
So
Nobel
we have an
Prize
inherent
winner.
advantage against that because we
Right.
do not live in a tyranny here.
Correct.
We live in a democratic republic. So we have these freedoms, and they are protected freedoms. The freedom of expression.
Thank God.
Yeah, and it starts with the freedom of
Well,
speech.
they might have
because
that-
that is the
And
that is
congregation and yeah.
that
Well,
is
I mean-
the right that every other right stems from.
Well,
You want freedom of association? Okay,
But-
freedom of speech, freedom of association. You could say what you want to who you want.
technically, you don't know that that's true or not unless you've been to China. Like what we know from China is what's been propaganded out is like this is what China's like, and it's probably true.
Everybody
Well, no,
everybody has an incentive.
But,
So maybe there is some
but
propaganda
if the
being
world
sent.
views Americans as dumb, fat, and
No,
lazy,
Chinese Americans
it
here.
makes sense that why we view China as like a corrupt.
Well, no, the reason
not,
why
not a
we-
monarch. but a
the reason why
dictatorship.
we review China as a corrupt dictatorship is number one, they killed like 150 million people in 4 years through Mao. So that's number one. Number two, they're still suppressing people and putting them in internment camps in modern
Uyghur
modern
Muslims.
times. Yeah.
And forcibly castrating them.
In modern times. And number three, now they've got camps that they're putting people in for not obeying their COVID laws. So we don't need to
I
go.
mean-
I don't need to go there and
I mean,
step off a
and
plane.
I
don't need to go off and step off
that's
a plane
like
to see
what-
that shit.
people still go there though. Like I'm just saying like that's what our media portrays China as. I'm like it's probably, and I'm not saying it's not true, but what if it wasn't true? Like my sister.
Yeah, and
my
what if we
sister
lived in
went
a
to
dictatorship? We just didn't know.
Yeah, I was
it?
gonna say.
My-
like,
my
Is
sister-
there,
what are we
is
in the
there,
Matrix
is there
here?
a purpose
Like,
to that?
Yeah.
I think the purpose,
Like,
but I think that like, and my brother and I, we talk about this. Like, I don't think there's really nations anymore per se. I think there's buyers and sellers. There's
what? So we live in 1984.
there's corporations. So like,
It's for the,
so like, we stand out to be like
It's the utopian
we have
God
laws and regulations.
Utopia's in heaven.
and
Fuck it on Earth.
EPA and shit
Not
like
happening.
that. But like other countries don't have this.
even heaven has
It
laws.
doesn't make sense. Like why why would China like want to pollute its rivers and streams and shit, or like why would they want to just burn?
Because they want to
Fossil
be the
fuels.
chief geopolitical force on in the planet.
Correct, and their GDP is at all costs, and they've already shown that they
Yeah, but
literally
who-
sacrifice their own people for the gain of.
And
Because-
that's
and
probably
I
true.
think
But
it
who
fundamental-
drives their GDP? We do.
No,
Oh yeah,
We're
and,
the
and we are the
consumers.
dumbasses of the world for doing it.
the entire world drives their GDP, man. Like everyone's
they-
buying everything from them. They have a monopoly on pharmaceuticals. They have a monopoly on electronics.
Mm-hmm.
They have a lot.
I wouldn't say monopoly, but they have
They
a
do.
lot of the basic raw
Every-
materials
all
for
the
making all that shit.
All the graphics cards in the entire world are made in China.
Well, there's a
That's a key component.
there's a key demonstration of this. I think it was Dow Chemical was going to make a silicone manufacturing plant, silicone refining plant in Tennessee,
Dow
and they were-
Chemical, dude. I'm having flashbacks.
and they were gonna build this $2 billion silicone refining plant for making microchips
Never-
in Tennessee. They got $1 billion into it,
Yep.
and then China
Oh yeah.
built a plant that changed the global price of those
Right.
silicone parts so that it wouldn't make money for them to run that plant anymore. So
Well,
you know what they did? They scrapped the whole fucking thing after
You
spending
have
$1
to-
billion.
You have to
on it.
understand though.
With a B, that's $1,000 million. More
think
money
it-
than we're ever all going to see in
do
our
you think it was
combined
just money
lifetimes.
motivated, or do you think that it was
That's podcast takes
political
off.
as well?
Why would Dow not want to save that $1 billion that they already invested?
What if our politicians were flexing on top of them, going, "Hey, China's trying to make this deal to already do all this stuff, and we have all of these ties in China."
Politicians have a lot of influence, but money has more. And
There's a
corporations.
lot more money in China
Yeah.
for our country than there is for our country in support of Dow Chemical.
So
Well, because we in America said it is important for our citizens and our workers to meet a certain standard of living, like workman's compensation. There's requirements and Social Security, and we put all of these taxes on the shit that we do. But if we import a product from overseas, we do not require that product be made to those same standards.
Right.
Ethically, yeah.
And this is something that's
Let's say
bugged me since
ethically.
I was in high school. That was like, well, we are putting ourselves at a forced disadvantage with the rest of the world because we're being hypocritical. It's like we care about working conditions for our citizens, but we don't give a flying fuck
that's
about kids.
that's why-
working
Give me
in
those
sweatshops
Nikes, son.
and Nikes.
And that's
Yeah.
why in the
and
last
that's-
30 years we've outsourced all of our critical businesses to other countries that don't care.
and that's where I come with like
Everybody, small
nations are
business
just-
too. Like, oh,
nations
we
are
can
just
make this a lot
corporations,
cheaper
so,
just
like-
by going
And I-
overseas.
And I work in an industry where I could make twice or 3 or 5 times more money by just sending it across the border to Mexico.
Well, and
And
even
it-
Mexico shares a common culture with us.
To a certain extent, I would agree with that.
It's
Yeah.
a lot closer than China.
It is.
And I wouldn't
People
say
are
that-
jumping off of second-story, third-story buildings to get out of their jobs. So
Because
in
stucco
China,
only goes one
or
story,
what?
son.
in
in
China,
China,
or Mex-
yeah.
in
I'm
China?
talking about Foxconn.
Oh, well, like, there was a
Apple,
there was a
Apple and the
shakeup.
Foxconn.
There was a
factories.
shakeup that happened about a year and a half ago when China really cracked down on a lot of their capitalistic companies, like Shanghai Electric was one of them, and there's a bunch of others. But essentially, what happened is, as I understand it, that the Chinese government basically flexed their muscles on those companies and said, you are guilty of bribery, you're guilty of money laundering because you're doing things that we didn't want you to do. So they trumped up charges. And like the CEO of a several billion-dollar electric company, like just jumps off the roof of their building, like, and he's not like a 2 or 3 story building, like he's killing himself instead of letting the Chinese government get a hold of him,
Right.
because that's the world they live in. And China and the Chinese Communist Party said, hey, you're not doing what we said. We need to make an example out of these heads of these companies. And so
It's sad when they're screaming, when they're being arrested and they scream, I did not commit suicide, no matter what they do while they're being arrested.
Right.
And this is a very popular thing they do. That I did not commit suicide. I'm not depressed. I am actually very happy with what I'm doing. And then they go into a van and they're never seen again. Like, it's a fucking that could be a CEO of a $100 million plus company, or that could be just a guy off the street, a reporter.
Yeah, just imagine if the
Imagine
federal
that in this
government in
country.
the United States said, Elon Musk, we don't like what you're doing, so guess
Yeah.
what? We're going to arrest you and throw you in a black hole.
Yeah, and they'll come up with some trumped up charge, like you said.
And I
then
guarantee you, if Elon Musk ever goes to China without the proper protections, he's going to get whacked like that.
He never will. Yeah.
Oh, why would you? That would be the dumbest thing ever because
This
he
is the
is
same.
he's a free speech
this is
absolutist
full- this-
because it's such a valuable thing.
This is full circle to like the Britney thing with her going to Russia. It's like, dude, when you're playing with fire,
Well, Russia's just a country of pragmatists.
you'll never see Elon ever in China or Russia or any of these dictatorships, because that's when some mercs are gonna roll up in a fucking van, dude, and he's gonna disappear.
Well, in Russia,
you
though,
can't-
Well, you don't see
everything is,
Homeboy yelling
everything
at
is
you,
so
like, I
bribed
didn't
in
hang
Russia.
myself in my
is,
jail.
the thing is that
What's
I'm
his name?
arguing though
I
is
already
like
lost
you
it. I said
can't
it
prove
earlier.
it's China.
Sex Island,
Oh, Epstein.
Epstein, yeah, Epstein Island.
Can we
Well,
take a
can't-
classical moment here to just
Like,
say Epstein?
I see your point.
Did not kill himself.
He did not kill himself. Dude,
If
100%.
Musk were to get murked in America, we have a standard that the American people are going to follow.
He's
If he gets murked in China,
the smart thing that
he would never get murked in
it could,
America, though.
it could
the
just
smart
be,
thing that Musk has done
it
is
could just be
he's a line-
Americans murking Musk in China because China. There's what
no
what-
the,
what-
America
what
the American
Americans
government could
see
afford
for
to
the
buy mercs in
world-
China.
what Americans see for the world is what you're getting from American news, and I would not highly recommend that at all.
Well, we don't get just
I've
American
never been
news
to-
here. We get everybody's news.
Yeah, but you don't know what that's
That's
like.
what free
you don't
speech
know if
is.
it's
So
true or false.
some of them are full of shit. Some of them are telling the truth. I would say most journalists,
Would
the
you-
ones out there like gathering
One American
information,
news, son.
are going to try and tell the
based
truth.
off the evidence,
Because it's not a business in which you can tell lies and survive.
But
The
would
media?
You, but would you
100%
never?
it
Would you
is.
never want to go see the Great Wall of China?
I think that'd
No.
be great. I think there's a very rich culture there. I think there's a very
do you think
industrious
your mind would
people.
be different when you go to China and see it? Like, be like, wow, this. Is
I
not
think
as
that'd
fucked
be
up."
cool as shit. It's a huge fucking structure. It's
Under
it's
this climate, no fucking way. I
But
would
the
never go.
government in China is not something I would ever want to deal with because if I cough wrong, they can throw me in the fucking.
Yeah, but who's telling you that though? Where are you getting this from? That's what my point is. Like, you're getting this from American outlets.
Tiananmen Square.
It could be. You don't know where that source came from though. Can I be devil's advocate though?
Okay,
Be
okay.
like,
He doesn't know
Yeah,
what
yeah.
that
Be
is.
devil's
You're
advocate.
talking a flat Earth level cover up.
Well, I'm just-
here,
well,
so-
well, it is kind of flat Earth in a sense because it's a
no, it
conspiracy
totally,
theory.
it
of sense.
totally is.
But from that standpoint, how can you believe anything you are told ever? Right?
without experiencing it yourself.
Because what you're saying is, I can't trust anything unless I see it firsthand.
He's taking
which
like a nihilistic
the world is
viewpoint
just
on this.
the world
I
is
don't- I
just
don't-
too big to ignore.
No, he's just trying to pull the truth
all
out and see what
sources.
he's talking
No,
about.
I'm just saying like you're getting your information from American news outlets. based
No,
on
we're getting our
American-
information from cell phone footage from people in China.
True. And
Like,
I,
okay, so
again,
the
I could
Apple
be
story
like the
about-
asshole that says
about-
like the Earth's not round, it's flat. Those footages are fake.
So you're saying that what if China wasn't the tyranny that we believe it is? Is that one of the things you're saying? Like, hey, it's a possibility because we don't have absolute faith in all of the news that we've gotten. So you're basically saying that China might not be a tyranny.
I think
Is that what you're saying?
What I
Because
would
it sounds
say
like
is
that's
like
what you're saying.
I feel like other cultures are not as open, or other countries are not as open as we are to issues. I guarantee you, other countries' problems are not like whether you're born female or male right now. Like I think
the
like,
issues that
I think that
are being
other
propagated
countries,
on
other
our main
countries
media.
focus on realization of life in general, and they uphold certain standards like to what our country has already moved on and got past. Like we allow women to vote and do shit. There are countries out there that don't allow women to do anything.
Well, like Iran. Like there's a big
Yeah.
social uprising in
So-
Iran because there's a lot of social pressure for that. And I would believe that. Well, can you believe any one story? Maybe, maybe not. But if there's a, what's the word for it? I'm drawing a blank here. If there's a preponderance of stories to that effect, can you believe that there's something like that happening? I think so. Can you believe every instance of purported crime that's being committed by a government like that? No.
No.
Like, was Jamal Khashoggi actually murdered by the government of Saudi Arabia because they didn't like what the fuck he was saying? Like, it's plausible.
And
do I know for sure it happened or not?
And I'm
would
not,
they,
I'm
would
not
they do
disagreeing
that?
with you guys. I agree that, like, you know, China probably hides a lot of shit. Why wouldn't they? But on hindsight, so do we. Like,
Well,
look at look at Epstein. Like, that dude didn't just fucking hang himself.
Well, yeah. The people in power are going to do everything they can to not get ousted from power. So there's a reason why Giselle Maxwell was arrested for sex trafficking, and there was no published list of who she trafficked for.
Yeah.
Like,
because-
who was it that she was doing all that
let's-
shit for?
Let's back that up a little bit though. Like, so comparing even Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell to what's happening right now and what's happened historically in the last 50 years, 60 years in China is fucking nothing. Like, you're talking like
You're talking
one pebble in
Okay.
in a mountain.
Here's a good example of exactly that relating to Soviet Russia. Like, back when Soviet Russia was doing their thing, almost every one of those leaders was responsible of giving murder orders to, like, just kill tens of thousands of people. And that's documented. It's not
talking-
really up for any kind of significant debate.
Talking hundreds of thousands, man.
No, I
Hundreds
understand.
of
I understand. Like,
like
Russian
super-
gulag,
how many people did
Russian gulags, we're talking millions.
there,
Man.
there's
Well, no, I'm talking about the individual politicians who held positions of high in the pinnacle of the Soviet government,
Okay.
like Politburo members and whatnot. Like, they would order for people to get murdered if they didn't like what they were doing, or they had the power to execute it.
they're super into
And-
genocide. I like it.
But then,
in 10 years, we're talking
fuck.
millions.
But like, Eisenhower gets crucified in American media for throwing his golf clubs at his caddy because he was upset that day.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
if that's the worst he fucking does, you know? And we're talking like, okay, we have mass murderers versus people who throw golf clubs that didn't actually even hurt anyone. We have different standards. And so we're judging ourselves based on our own standards, but we're not applying those standards to other people. Oh, it's a long ash year.
That is a nice one, dude. You got a nice one going there.
Oh, yeah. And that's another reason why I like these cigars is they hold together real well,
do.
which means they were
This
made
is a nice fucking cigar. This is like
It's
is
$10.
top, This is top 5 for me.
Shit's made in China.
Fucking,
for me.
fucking
Unregulated,
hope
dude.
not.
That's a. I'm not
He's
gonna
looking
say
at
it.
it. He's
I'm not even
looking at
gonna
it
say
right
it, dude. I'm not gonna say
God, I
it.
hope not. But it's like, okay, it comes down
They
to
don't have tobacco in China. I doubt it.
oh, if they can make
Synthetic
money on
tobacco.
it, they have it.
Oh yeah, they do.
They make. I bet you China is making all of those fucking vape cartridges.
Where the vape pen come from? Yeah.
Definitely making all that shit.
Well,
That
it's-
has nothing to do. That's nicotine. That
It's
has nothing
because
to do with tobacco.
They're how do you get nicotine? You
Out of
artificially making nicotine? Can you
China
Now
artificially
you
can
makes-
you genetically modify E. coli to make nicotine? Probably.
probably could.
I guarantee you.
I
If
guess
you
I
could-
never thought about it. Does nicotine only come from one source? Because I never actually.
I never dug
rationalized-
into it.
I've never rationalized that. Yeah,
Well, it's like what?
it's like
what's the-
caffeine because like caffeine comes from multiple sources, right?
Yeah. There's lots of
Now
fucking
it
plants
does.
that make
Taurine
caffeine.
and
But
Taurine's just bull piss, right?
pretty much
We're
right
going
down
off
the
of the
throat.
Latin.
Yeah. Aladdin?
If we're going off the Latin of the name,
Aladdin.
taurine.
I thought-
Taurine.
From Aladdin.
Aladdin?
Yeah, that's where I get all my facts too.
Genie's over there.
It's
It's
it's TAR.
Where's the monkey?
Not TORO.
So you've probably been since,
Smart
like-
motherfucker over here trying to ruin my joke, dude. Come on.
You're probably not on.
It's because I'm dense as a fucking brick. Most of that shit just goes right over my head.
That's why he had
Way
a
too
fucking guy
fucking
from the
literal.
Saints come do it.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah,
That's
the
why
Saints come marching in, buddy.
When Jim
Ooh,
came in,
there
when
it
Jim
is.
came in earlier,
There's Jim.
I shook his hand and I looked him right in his eyes and said, "I appreciate you, bro. Thanks for showing up." For
He's
the
like, yeah, my
podcast today."
dick's still bigger than you.
way bigger, dude. Way. Dude,
It's so much bigger. I don't have to remind people.
We're talking
of that.
an ant to a
I
mole.
do, though.
We're
because
talking an
I don't
ant to a
define
mole
myself
here.
on my dick size.
I do.
I define myself on how well am I being the ideal man that I want to be.
And then
So
your dick
getting back
says
to your question
no.
about could you be anybody for a year?
Right.
It's
Oh,
like-
here we go. Coming back.
I would be my ideal person.
What's that?
The ideal vision of who I am.
Okay.
Generous,
Elon Musk,
competent, extraordinarily accomplished,
Trump.
and I would practice all of those things. But that's
But
the
here's
thing,
the-
though.
here's the worst
is
part,
you
though.
can be, you can
Jim,
work yourself into being closer
With what
to
I
that
said
person.
earlier, though, comes back to
What keeps you from being
what if-
Chris Hemsworth?
What if I said I wanted to
Dedication,
be
time,
your wife
luck.
for a year just to see how the Jim household goes. See what I'm saying here? It was
That's
supposed
an
to be a
odd question.
It was a joke. We were supposed to set
an
this up as a
odd
joke,
fucking
and this
question.
totally turned into something else. So I'm just saying.
And I'm just saying that's an odd fucking question.
Well, no.
But
Odd
I mean,
statement.
it's an
Odd
interesting
statement.
question because then it makes you think, well, what if I was another person?
That
well,
was
you
the whole
can
point
be.
of what it,
You
no,
can be.
I was saying it could be in someone else's body.
What keeps you from being Matthew McConaughey?
Hair.
He has immense
Southern draw.
he has
Wait.
immense control over what he does. He has a very high degree of control over what he does, and he has mastered his own
Great book, by the way.
Hair, genetics,
I missed it.
and a
Green
fundamental.
Lights
What's
by
that?
Matthew McConaughey.
Oh,
Green Lights.
okay.
His book.
Oh yeah, I haven't read it.
We're talking about his
Is it worth
mastery
reading?
over all things. If you actually read that book, he's actually
He's-
very intelligent with what he does, and he's very methodical with every single.
And he moved his family out of California
Oh yeah, he
to
did.
what? Texas was it?
Texas.
Texas,
Because he said, "I cannot raise my children to be the
No.
people I want them to be in this environment."
well, he
and
hated
that's-
it. He loathed himself for it too. And it's like
Hmm?
you can't live
He loathed himself for what? Living in
for living in a place that he didn't want to be, like, and also have a family there. So he hated a part of himself for trying to raise a family in a place
don't-
where he
well, I
himself
don't-
didn't want to be.
I don't
Oh,
really
sure,
think
sure.
you should
So
aspire
from
to
that
be Matthew
standpoint-
McConaughey, though.
what's that?
I don't think you should aspire yourself to be Matthew
Why
McConaughey.
not?
No,
well,
it was just
you take
just
aspects
said-
of people that are very successful, and okay, what aspect of Matthew McConaughey makes him very successful? He was able to play Dallas Buyers Club, and he lost weight doing a very
Almost
regimented,
died.
Well,
Yeah, but multiple actors.
he
have
said
done that.
the hard part
They're fucking
about
crazy.
losing all the weight to get to that weight, to make the character believable, so his dedication to his craft, he said the hard part was deciding to do it.
Yeah.
It was easy for him to say, I'm going to eat one egg and one piece of toast or whatever his
It
diet
wasn't
was.
easy for any nutritionist or doctor.
Yeah,
around
but
him,
Jim,
though.
if I told
fuck
you,
with Christian Bale.
Jim, if I told you I'm
Machinist.
giving you
Machinist, dude.
$25 million
One apple
to
a
make a
day.
movie and you got to weigh 90 pounds,
one apple.
you're gonna do it for $25 million
Is it that easy, though?
No, it's not that
for
easy.
money, for motivation. Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing. If
Nothing-
any of us wanted
you-
to do something that was worth that much, all it would take is complete mastery over the shit
you
that gets
value
in
money-
our way.
I also think. Hold on.
that we
to
create
come to all your
ourselves.
guys' points.
That we
If-
create
I think the
ourselves.
difference
if he
is
were to do it not getting paid, hats off to him. But Christian Bale did that shit with The Machinist.
But I
Then
think
he
that
put
I think
on,
the difference
like-
is like
And Christian
if you look at the the part of the actor where they took that role, right? Like you knew Christian Bale, you knew Matthew McConaughey, and so going to your counterpart or money, he knows he's okay. Now if you're a struggling actor, couple fucking B rolls, couple cameos here and there, but no one really knows your name, and someone goes, "Hey, listen, I want you to lose 60 pounds, right, dude? I'm 170 pounds slim right now." I know, but it's gonna be the best movie ever. And well, what's the money worth?
Well, he gets
Like,
paid.
what do I get
first.
paid? And they're like, most people probably still wouldn't take that role compared to maybe someone who is
The-
proven and has a good work ethic
Okay,
and
first-
goes, now, I'm up to the challenge.
First of all,
you know what I mean? Because I have
first
my
of all,
acting career. I have a book.
You should.
I'm up to the challenge of doing it.
In my opinion,
I'm capable of
you
doing
should
it.
never
It's
put.
Clint Eastwood.
In my
man.
opinion, you
Right.
should never put actors or professional athletes on a pedestal.
Why not? They're doing something that you're not.
Why
What
would
what
you?
are you putting on a pedestal, though? Are you
I-
putting
Look
them
at
in
Michael
their
Jordan. It was
entirety
the
on a pedestal?
mentality that made him
Are
good. It
you-
wasn't his skill.
I
Yeah,
put.
who's on your
I
pedestal?
put stuff that I could not do
Like what?
on a pedestal. Like Jim, you're very athletic. You've wrestled for say.
I would
If I were to
s-
come to you and
okay.
tell you I'm going to give you the best nutritionist, the best workout, the best coaches ever
Here we go.
to wrestle for the UFC, do you think you would not be at least good at a competitive level?
It would take him 10 years.
It's athletic.
That's the number I was
It's
thinking in my
10
head.
years to get a black belt, dude.
Well, you
No.
can do a black belt quicker than that.
No,
no,
it's
I'm
not.
just
If
saying.
that's the
I'm
only
just
If you
saying
thing
if you
in-
if you
in
think that you're
general-
getting if you're gonna do MMA fights under 10 years, dude.
Well, the point he's
MMA
getting
fights.
at. The point he's getting at
the point.
is,
The point. Yeah.
is
Joe,
like,
yes.
if I surround
Jim
myself
would
with the
probably
best
be a little
tools,
slower because he
then
has
I-
his base of wrestling. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
There's a difference. He has a base.
Exactly. So
which means I probably have to unlearn
So
a lot
he'd
of shit
go
I
in and
learned in
die
wrestling.
he'd go in
right?
and
No.
die in a ring versus
You
a
would
guy
just have
that's
to
been
be
doing
able
it
to
for
be.
16 years.
So-
You'd have to open your mind to other things instead
you-
of going
so
back
you-
to your
so
way you
you're
do
getting
things.
there. You get what I'm saying. Yes, if you surround yourself with the best tools and the easiest way in profession,
Mhm.
in my opinion, to do that is athletics and acting.
Yeah, but there's so much
You're
more that
telling
goes
me-
into that, Joe.
you're
I can
telling
pay
me-
a princess
You're telling me that
to
if
do that.
I
when
already
it dies on the drive.
know the general basics of basketball. You're telling me if you didn't pay me millions of dollars a year to shoot a basketball around, that I would not be professionally good at it? There's no fucking way.
No,
I would,
Yeah,
I
then
would be
why aren't you?
super good at it.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing.
I would put
They were
just as much
super
money.
good
I would
at
put
it.
just as much money against him of getting into the NBA, no matter what someone offered him with
No, I'm
whatever
already,
tutelage.
I'm already in it. You're already teaching me to play it. I'm already
It's like
in
the
the
kids
NBA.
you played with in like Little League and shit, whose parents paid for their pitching
It's not the
coach and a
same.
hitting
It's not
coach
They're gonna go in and
and
bench you
not
new
the same
bats
dog
every
on
week.
It's
you know?
a physical activity that you can learn. It's repetition. It's
Everybody can
over
learn it, Joe.
and
Everybody
over
can learn
and
everything.
over.
I can learn
Not
everything.
necessarily. No, you can't.
Yes,
Well,
I
well,
can.
here-
Everybody
here-
can.
Well, there's
but
the-
can you apply yourself to be that next echelon? Is the difference.
Anyway,
Well,
what were you saying?
Well, yeah,
I can learn a shit ton about
this whole
astrology, but I'm not gonna
discussion,
be
I'm
Neil
reminded of a
deGrasse
scene
Tyson.
from a movie called The Edge. You know what that movie?
The Bear?
Yeah.
Yeah, The Bear. Yeah, fucking Anthony
Anthony Hopkins,
and Alec Baldwin.
Alec
Yeah.
Baldwin, yeah.
And
Great
what
movie.
awesome movie. And what he says, what one man can do, another can do. And that's absolutely true.
It's super true.
Like, okay, if somebody has a club foot, okay, he's not probably going to be very good at it, you know.
but he'll get
So there's so
He'd be a
we
kicker
each-
in the NFL, though.
So we each have, well, if he's a robot with a fucking leg like,
winds it up like a top.
yeah.
Club foot, dude.
Well,
Here's Ventura.
Finish your thought, and then I got one
Sorry.
too. I got
so
one
my
that
so my
Joe
thought
wasn't
is, we all have our limitations physically, and
Yeah.
but mentally, the difference is how much we have conditioned ourselves to pursue that goal. Like
Kind of.
there's a point where in this master's class that's going to be put out by Dennis Prager, and he said, I'm going to tell you lessons that I've learned through life that have made me as successful as I am. And I'd
Sure.
say he's a person you could learn a lot from,
seasoned. Yeah.
because there's a lot of shit he does really well. And he's known by a lot of people. Like, I think most people in this room know who Dennis Prager is,
Right.
at least.
I don't
Oh,
know
yeah.
who he is.
He's
but I'll Google him.
I watched
He's,
hundreds of hours of his lectures.
PragerU is his like creation. So he's a thought leader. He's trying to help other people be better.
He's been a professor. He's been a speaker. A
Yeah,
book
so
writer.
he's competent.
Yeah.
He's
very,
achieved a high point of accomplishment. He's very
So he articulates himself well.
yeah, he articulates
Extremely well.
but he has the right thought pattern for doing great things, and it's exhibited by the fact that he's done great things. So if you're talking about, if you surround yourself with the best money in a way that is
could be
it's
a
an
gateway.
it's an essential step for achieving the very, very, very highest pinnacle.
Well, I saw what it did for Jake Paul. I guarantee you he's a professional boxer, in my opinion.
Well, here's
can find whoever
so
he
hang on.
wants.
Sure.
I've been waiting to get my idea
Okay.
here.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Go ahead, Mike.
Have any of you guys ever heard of the Pareto distribution?
The Pareto no.
Yes.
No.
Okay. Well, it's a statistical model that shows and has been proven that the top 1% of anything, right? They own 99%. So it's like if you
I believe that.
Like
If-
my OnlyFans.
Well, if you're Taylor Swift, you're in the top 1% of musicians,
Right.
and you run
Is she?
90% of the revenue in the market. Okay?
She probably is.
Oh, she
Not
totally
deeply-
fucking is.
not
She's one of the
deeply.
richest.
Because
She's one of the
people
richest.
because
She's one of the
people
rich-
seek out the people who are best at what
It's
they
not
do.
only that; it has a
It's
lot of
inherent to
it
who
has a
we
lot
are
of
as people,
factors.
right?
So the problem with the Pareto distribution is like
Fuck
not
her,
everyone
She's out quick.
not everyone can be in the 1%, no matter how much money they have, no matter how smart they are, or how much artistic ability they have. It's a factor of it's a multivariable situation. So like there's artists out there that are totally garbage, okay,
Mhm.
but they knew the right guy, or they
Oh,
became viral.
Oh, yeah.
Or
Kanye?
right? But those guys own 99% of the market.
Kanye is super smart.
I know.
So no matter how hard you try, so if you look, if you look at how many people try to get in the NFL, I mean,
Yeah.
you played football. You played football.
Yeah.
How come you're not a fucking pro star?
Because I didn't dedicate my life to it.
Even if you did, do you think that you'd be able to get in the 1%?
He would have been
If I
further than
dedicated
me.
my life to it from the age of 6, I might have gone to college for it.
Maybe gone to college, but not the NFL.
But when I was
Yeah,
that
but-
age,
but here's
of
Well,
needing
hold
to
on
do
though.
that,
So
Hold on.
here's-
I
I
had
will
not
interrupt
mastered
you in that
Here's the-
part.
here's the
is
argument I can make,
Hold on,
though.
Joe. Let me finish this. The difference between that, though, is there's a good turning point between the ages of like 15 to 18, like when you're
I don't care
devoting
about-
yourself.
I don't care about the ages.
No, okay. Well, you
Yeah.
said devote yourself from 6. A lot of people like.
I didn't say that.
I did.
Okay, so from 6, yeah, doing things, sure, but there comes a point where something might click.
I'm saying 1% make it.
Yeah,
1%.
but who's that 1%?
That's what I'm saying. Is
Those
do you
people
think
who are-
that you're gonna beat out the guy that's? I don't want to say it, but in sports, do you think you're gonna beat out the guy that's 6'5" and fucking 200
No, I'm
pounds
5'6", bitch.
and can run fucking circles
No,
around you?
yeah.
Exactly. So that's
I
what I'm
mean,
saying. Is,
let's look at small quarterbacks. Like they're now kind of thinking that 5'11" is okay to be as a quarterback. Where you have all these ballers that
But
are
if you look at-
5'11",
if you
they just wouldn't even give you the chance. You know,
so what I'm saying to Joe's point is that money and opportunity and all of those things don't necessarily equate to success.
nobody can make you
And
money.
It can, but it's
Jake Paul?
proven though.
Well, I mean, it depends
There's,
on.
well, Jake Paul's is a long-term success. He was a child star first.
I was just
Then
talking
he was
about sports in general. That's boxing.
I think it depends on
Yeah,
what
but
you.
what he's done is he's maximized Conor McGregor's success. And if you look at the beginning
No,
of his,
I'm not mad at him for making money as a YouTuber.
if you
and
look at
all
the
that shit.
beginning of his success, this is anecdotal almost, but like if you look at his beginning success, he was even doing Conor McGregor's poses at the beginning of his fights. So like he's a troll. The guy is not a traditional style athlete that works himself up from a certain boxing school and then goes to
No,
No, he's athletic as
I
fuck. I
would-
mean, him and his brother have been athletic and played sports the whole year, so
he
they
looks
have
like
a background.
Well, he looks
for
like a
it.
shit show when he boxes though. You can't deny that.
I don't agree with that at all.
He throws haymakers nonstop, and he just happens to be
I think,
6 foot.
I
with
think
a,
Logan does, but Jake knows what he's doing.
He has fundamentals of boxing, and he looks
That
good,
guy will
and
never-
would probably
he'll never be a
outbox. I
great-
mean, he'd outbox any of us in a ring, 100%.
he'll never beat Mike Tyson. He'll never beat any
Maybe.
of the
Well,
guys.
he's never gone against a boxer, and that's the whole thing.
That's what
I
I'm saying.
will
is
I
it's all
will
gimmick.
never put an athlete or an actor above my capability. It just won't happen. I will never.
So
do
who's on
that.
the pedestal for Joe then?
Just mainly people that are
Is
like
your boss at work?
mainly
Who
people,
is it?
people that are just smarter or like can draw or can do like shit
Like
that
Neil
I,
deGrasse Tyson? What are you
like
talking about
shit-
smarter?
No, not Neil. Fuck that guy.
Well, there's a great
Hawking?
quote by Calvin Coolidge that I think relates to this very directly, and it's about persistence. And it says that talent, persistence, and determination alone are omnipotent. That's what's going to win you. You stay at something persistently, you're going to fail. You learn from it, you grow, and you go past it. It's nothing in the world can take the place of persistence.
Yeah.
Talent will not. The world is full of unsuccessful men with talent. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. All of these things are true. You can be incredibly smart. You can be incredibly educated. You can be incredibly talented at something. But what's going to make you successful is being persistent at what you want to be.
Right.
Yeah, and that's and I think that's
that's it relates to learning the lessons from everyone you can and dedicating yourself to that.
But I also think that's the hardest part for you to figure out as an individual is what am I going to be persistent at? Like what do I want to do? Like
I think it's a simple case of just like, and we've all been there. It's, wake up. Okay, you got to be at work at 9, random time. So, I'm going to get up at 8, take a shit, head out. Or no, maybe get up at 7, work out for an hour, take your shower, take your shit, then head to work. It's like, oh, yeah, that sounds pretty good. And like, nah, I really want that other extra hour of sleep. Like persistence, like in your daily life, everyone's doing everything persistent. Like father, provider, groceries, snow plowing, whatever the case is. Like, yeah, I have to do these things. But like if it comes to something like the better your own life and being persistent about it, it's very easy to falter and do other things because it's like, man, like working out sounds really great right now and I need to. Like everyone wants to get back in shape, but playing a fucking video game sounds better than fucking with the boys because I'm burnt out. And so it's like having your times and your persistencies of doing those like said things, it's
well even
it's,
that like,
making a fucking I was never one to like write out like my daily tasks and my weekly tasks, but I've been doing it just for a couple days to kind of see. I knock out 95% of my tasks on that list instantly because I'm just like, all right, let's go. You know, and I've talked about this with my wife. It's like one of the things like her and I butt heads about is like, if I'm doing something, leave me alone. Let me finish said task. Not, hey, well, can you come help me? Oh, hey, can you come over? It's like, God damn it. Leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
I have my list. Let me get my list done, and I will gladly help you with whatever you want to do. Like,
And
do
this
not
is
interrupt me.
That's a
You
great
know?
that's a great point that you're making. Where I think that's the much like more important point to make is you're not trying to be the number 1% in bodybuilding by going to work out, and you're not trying to be in the number 1% in whatever else you do with your vocation and everything else.
Right.
You're not trying to be the number 1 husband, the 1% husband in the world, right?
No.
You're just trying to better your life, and I think that's a way more important
If
stance
the
to take.
individual is happy, I think the rest of the life becomes more happy.
And that's where
You know what I mean?
And that's
Like
where
when you're self-loathing, it just
Yeah.
it hurts everybody, yourself included, like more dramatically. But you know, if you're going to be detrimental to yourself, everybody around you feels it and they see it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, what's wrong? Like, I just need to go on a fucking treadmill, and if I'm not going to run 5 miles, at least let me walk 3. You know, get those endorphins flying a little bit. Go, okay, whew, I feel good. It's like, do you want to have a drink tonight? It's like, no, actually, I think I'm good because I want to treadmill tomorrow, or you know what I mean, like, and just setting up things, and
that's
it's about like taking that first step to like
correct.
go for it and do it. You know,
when you put those goals up, you're not putting them at the very top, and I think that's important. Is you're just trying to be motivated and to do things that are healthy for you,
right?
and that motivate you. And I think that's way more important than trying to be a celebrity boxer or a fucking streamer or a fucking Matthew McConaughey or whoever it might be. And it's hilarious because that actually mirrors Green Lights. I've read his book, Matthew McConaughey's book. Is he talks about that, how he didn't want to be a movie star. He just kind of happened into it. It was because he put his best foot forward, and then it just kind of happened.
Right.
And he thought he did a really shitty
what
role.
doors are going to open?
He
for
had fun doing it, but he thought he did a really shitty job at doing it, and then it just kind of opened another door and opened another door, and it kind of happened organically. It wasn't like he was trying to fucking be Marlon Brando like
Right.
the next day, right? It was like he was just like, oh, I fucking just kind of tripped and fell into this role, and it just happened. to
Well,
work
I mean,
out.
even coming
So-
back to
Well,
like
it-
when
it-
I got
like,
into
getting back to the point about, well, what was it that made Christian Bale, for instance? Like, was American Psycho his first movie?
no,
no,
Or
it
is his
was,
first really successful one? or-
Newsies was his first.
yeah,
yeah, that fucking
What's Newsies?
it's a
It's
Disney
like
musical.
it's like a musical about like
The news guys in like 1920s
yeah,
delivering
yeah,
papers and
delivering,
shit.
Okay,
like the
okay.
kids, and he's trying to get them representation.
Oh, sure.
And he was
like,
young. He
so
was
like
like 18 in that
the
or some
example I
shit,
was going
16.
after with Christian Bale was, and maybe this is right, maybe this isn't, but it demonstrates to me why he was successful. Is he had great control of his emotions, and as an actor, being able to turn on and off your emotional switch makes a lot of sense to be in that role, because all of a sudden, hey, between takes, you don't want to be amped up to like Radiohead 11 like anxiety if you're playing a role
Unless
that is
you're
really
like a
anxious.
Methodist actor, and that's like you have to endure
Well, yeah,
that.
everybody
that
finds their
person,
own
you
thing.
know? Right.
But my point is,
Methodist.
he was
Methadone? No, methadone's a drug.
method,
method actors, yeah.
just method actor.
Yeah, whatever. I'm gonna add plurals.
Well, regardless of how they choose to, enact their supreme
Sure.
skill set,
yeah,
he had control of himself.
Right.
And that's something that I think we all could benefit from. Understanding that the desires that we have, like, hey, I'm tired. I don't want to do another rep. I'm tired, or I'm burnt out. I don't want to do these things. And then you can't push yourself to the point of like psychosis and making yourself crazy, because that doesn't do anything good for anybody. It has to be a maintainable pace. But at the same time of that, it's you want to be the best engineer. Well, tune your method of thinking so that you make the best decisions possible, because engineering is more about a way you think about things rather than what you know. And
it's a lot of mistakes though too, right? Would you say that?
Oh yeah. Well, everybody makes a lot of mistakes.
Well, I mean, like engineering is kind of trying to solve a problem, and then in solving a problem is often coming with a lot of mistakes as well.
Oh yeah. There's engineers in our country today, myself included. The problem comes in when we think we didn't forget anything, when we think we know everything.
It's ready to go.
right.
Right. And it's like,
What about this? fuck.
It's a
Put
for
the
sure.
gasket
It's a
in.
for sure bet, though, dude. You know.
Well, see, that even comes back to the point of like, I heard this the other day, and it was pretty cool. It was like, it was talking about like the human body and how they say like, your T cells start dying at 35 or diminishing at 35 and getting lower and stuff. And the person talking to the point was
The Umbrella
the,
Corporation.
the
has it for
reason
those T
that
cells.
right, your T cells, your test cells. The reason being why is it's not that they are diminishing. It's that you think of people at 35 and like where they're at their job, especially when they hit 40, is if you look at the workforce from like say 16, 18 to early 30s, usually those people are the guys that are on the ground. And if you're in said field
Right.
and you get promoted and you're doing your due diligence and climbing that fucking ladder at 35 to 40, you're now the guy with the white hat or the white coat, and it's so
Well, you know what?
you're now justifying and
Or you're a
telling the
logger
guys
that switches into computer technology because
Yeah.
you don't want to fucking kill yourself.
right.
Because
You've
logging
been doing
has a
that,
lot of
and
accidents.
so now it's like, why is the hugest like the range of like it's like 37 to like 62, the biggest like obese period of people's lives? It's because it's not that they're not doing anything; they're just now sitting behind a desk instead of being in the field. It's like, and so you're getting sedentary. So that's what happens. And then people get the mind frame of like, I've worked my ass off the last 15 years. I don't want to fucking do this. It's like, you're right. You don't have to do that. But that also doesn't mean you can't walk a mile. Doesn't mean you can't, walk 2 miles or just get up and do something compared to feeling like now you're privileged, which is for everybody, of like, I've made it here. So like, I don't feel like I need to go do this. Not like privileged, like I'm like an ass or, heinous about it, but it's like, I can now
There's
sit
a
back.
hierarchy at every job.
Right.
Yeah.
And,
well,
and
and
so
by that point
I
in
feel
their,
like you,
in their careers, maybe they hurt themselves.
true that.
And they're like, well, I can't do this physical thing. What else can I do?
Right.
How can I change myself so I'm successful?
Here's a
at that?
fact too
But-
that no one talks about too is that like during that age group too, between like 25ish and 35ish, and maybe 25 to 40, is that people have babies. And so what happens is actually there's a physiological experience that men have too when they have children, that they actually start producing less testosterone and more estrogen because they have to become more understanding
Loving.
and loving and caring, and so their body actually slows testosterone, and also because when the mother has to carry a baby, the testosterone levels go down in men once they find out that the woman's pregnant. It's crazy.
Right, but I'm
Because-
talking like a
because they're
swing
not-
of like 60 pounds, not of like.
But I
you know,
feel
put
like-
a
I
10
feel
on
like-
it.
Well, guys can put on 10 to
With
30
this-
pounds actually.
With this
in a pregnancy.
conversation,
It's
I
crazy.
feel
It's
like
called being lazy.
Aaron, like you value success based off working out.
No, I don't. I value success as just being happy in whatever you're doing. Like
Yeah,
I
but
could
a-
I
but
could
a
care
lot of
too
it,
less
though,
about.
But I'm not trying to be.
I'm
not
just saying
I'm
for,
not
like,
saying
mental
that's a bad
health.
thing, but I'm just saying like you always come back to like
It's because
like
it's the most I know.
fitness.
It's the
Fitness.
most I know, and I know like
Well, that's
ideals
what-
about
that's-
it and
that's how you
drives.
see your ideal
So
self.
fitness
Right.
makes you happy.
Well, I think fitness makes everybody happy.
But like when you go on Instagram and you see a
Because
guy,
the
you
endorphins
see
that
guy
you get out of
there
it are
just being-
completely from like reading a good book. Like it might make you happy, or if you watch a good movie, you might get a laugh out of it. But if you did, again,
but does-
said minutes on a
does,
treadmill,
does
it's
Joe-
so
does-
much better for you.
Does and like maybe you idolize The Rock or watch his workouts. Does Joe
don't.
Rogan calling him out with steroids?
No, he didn't call him out. He was joking around on the podcast. So
I'm saying.
he pretty much said, which I agree, is like he's obviously on something. And what
Obviously.
that came to is like it came to a whole like steroid talk of if people have already heard it, but it's
No,
all
I-
these big actors that get in shape.
I don't care what he said. I'm just asking you in general. Like, if does that diminish your mentality of like?
I
as
don't
you
give
get-
two
as-
fucks because
as you get
steroids
older,
don't
like-
make you big.
No, I'm
the
just saying
fucking
as you get
ethic
older,
makes
that
you
like
big.
it doesn't
with a little bit of
matter
help.
how much you work out. You still need something.
You need something to do, and getting your body moving. That's the thing. Is like
Something-
that's
what it
sedentary. The
seems-
whole point, what it came down to, is being sedentary. It wasn't about like working out and getting jacked. It was about moving, about people putting on weight because they stopped moving.
Well, I think-
Imagine if we did this podcast and all of us were on fucking treadmills, and for 2 hours we just sat here and talked and bullshit, had a couple beers, but we're on
Well,
a treadmill walking the whole time.
I think
How
the-
fun would that be?
I think the more solid idea,
and the most calories you probably burnt all week.
I think the more solid idea you had just to contribute to the conversation is that you also talked simultaneously about setting goals. And I think that if one of your goals is to work out for an hour a day, 5 days a week,
Right.
and meeting that goal, not only are you getting all of the physiological components of working out, but you're also getting the psychological components of meeting that goal and then surpassing it, right?
Well,
And so
yes.
I think that being active is really good. There's really no negative to being active. There really isn't. I mean, within reason, right?
Oh, there's no. I
Well,
agree.
and that's the thing
But-
too when it comes to like health. In a sense, it's like why fad diets fail, or people dieting, they get off it, or working out
don't
becomes
get
a
me started
thing.
on fucking
It's
diets,
because
bro.
it's like people, they have to change their mindset of like, it's not like I need to better myself in the next 3 months. It's like it needs to be a lifestyle change.
I think
It's
more.
got to change to like fix my lifestyle to help me, and again, live longer. Like I don't give a fuck if you're over
Sure.
here lifting 5,000 pounds and squatting
Well-
9,000. It's like just in a general of, same as sports. I think that's where it gives a drive to any athleticism. It's just changing the mind frame. Like if you want to live a healthier life, you gotta do something physical.
Well,
you
let
gotta
me-
you gotta shovel
me-
some
let me
snow.
ask you guys
You know
this,
what I mean?
like, let me
Mow
ask
the
you guys
grass.
this.
Something.
We all grew up, and we probably still partake. I know I do, in playing video games.
Mhm.
Like is
every day.
It's a
Something
great
an outlet of mine.
cognitive fucking
something we
workout.
do.
I'll play video
Does it-
games after I leave here.
Does it annoy you that like there are people out there that make millions of dollars that play a game that you've
No.
been playing?
No.
Doesn't annoy me at all.
Do you
I think that's rooted in jealousy.
Yeah.
But does it make you feel like okay, so I get it that there are things in athletics, in entertainment, especially like Matthew McConaughey is a great actor.
Mhm.
Like you just can't have people just come in and start acting. You can't have just random people just play basketball. Like I mean, there is a team, but then there's like
They've
LeBron
done the
James, but there's people that are like like in football.
Well, there's just good people
football,
at
you can
things
name-
too that were like born to be good things.
Yeah,
Like,
and
oh,
like
yeah.
with
Yeah,
there's
we
guys
all
that are
have
born to
things.
be athletes. There's guys
With-
that are born to be singers. There's 9-year-olds that play the piano better than fucking people that have been playing the piano for 20 years.
Yeah, but
wouldn't-
with football, you can name like some starting players on like whatever team you root for,
Mhm.
whether it be Seattle or not.
Sure.
But you can't name all 11 people out there unless you're like a diehard fan. And
Or you have an
wanna know.
eidetic memory, or
but there are
I mean,
11
if you
people
put the
out
work
there
in
that
and you memorized all
yeah.
the names, and I mean, it's like, okay, well, what's the purpose of that?
so like going back to that like that 1% that Miles is talking about. Like yeah, there's a 1%, but that 1% is like 100,000 people maybe.
Sure.
It's often even less.
It's probably less than that. Like
Yeah,
if there's 53-man roster on a football team, there's 32 teams. Do the math, people. But there are a lot of people that people don't even know even exist on a football team.
One
Well,
thing
yeah,
of note. One thing of note too is like the distribution I was talking about isn't necessarily just success; it's wealth, and so it's the 1% of those people own the 99% of the wealth
Yeah.
in the category, and it's been proven throughout. I mean, this distribution's been around for 60 years, so it's a statistical proven thing in
But going
pretty
back,
much anything. Art. Think about artists. How many
Yeah.
painters can you fucking name? Okay, and then how many
Bansky.
then how many fucking painters are out there?
the only real
And then
artist.
you think about the wealth distribution between those painters. Okay,
But going back to that though, if I gave you unlimited resources to play said video game, would you not be good at that video game?
Well, that's the thing though. Is like
I'd be better at it.
you would.
Wouldn't necessarily be like
But here's
mind blowing.
what
here's
makes
the-
them so good at it? I've watched professional gamers stream all the time, like
Dude, there's
Shroud, and he'll lose more times than he wins. But for some reason, people think he's so good.
a lot of streaming is based off of personality, and people don't even watch for
I
people's.
understand
for
that, but
people's-
when I first got into streaming, I watched to learn how to play and get better at the game.
Well, I mean,
But
there's
my
a
point
there's a
being
game
is
I
like-
played that I watch a lot of videos.
There's broad
Would
sticking-
you
there's
not
broads
agree
like-
that you would get better at
There's
it
women
if
with
you
open-
just did it all the time, 24/7?
So your premise that I think you're getting at is, if I had all of the advantages that these pinnacle type people have, I could be as good as they are.
Yeah, but I'm saying it in a sense that like what
To a
they
degree,
do,
maybe.
what they do doesn't matter for society. Like
Say that
acting, athletics, YouTube streamers, they could all disappear and society would go on. I'm saying it for
Well,
that shit.
But
I'm
there,
not saying
but
it
there
for
would be
like,
a hole left.
I'm not saying it for
They,
like
they are
government.
fulfilling something.
Maybe
It gets
there's a
back
market.
to those.
There's a market for it because people are spending
Well,
billions.
no,
of dollars.
everything's
Here-
built
here-
off of
here's
like
what I think
of
on
like
that.
Roman times, Greeks,
maybe though.
everything. Like there's always been an athleticism, especially with men. There's always someone out there, puffing their chest, doing something. You have to have an
just wanna
outlet
hear
for that.
what-
Smarts are great. And I mean, that's amazing. Like, yeah, could we go further without any sports or any kind of athleticism? 100%, because you probably have more minds attained to what you're trying to grow. But without the outlook of like us men pent up, like we got to go hit something or we got to go do something, like it would be catastrophic. I don't see how you would be able to make it work, because you have to have an outlet.
So
doing
your
still
thought
have
on,
blood sports.
your thought on the question though, like if you were
Sorry, Jim.
if you were given resources for anything you want to do in the world, do you not think you'd be
His chances are less than 1%.
Here's
professionally
the
good
thing.
at it?
Here's the thing. I could be given the vocal coach, like, because I like to sing. I think singing's fun. It's very fulfilling to me.
And that's
It
hard
fills my
industry
cup
to get
in a
into
lot.
because you have to be able to sing. So I agree.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
I like
so,
this. Go on.
So there's an element to great singers who are able to embody and draw forth that feeling within you. And I'm not sure if I could ever learn, like, how to be a great blues guitarist like B.B. King. Like, the man just makes it sing. Like, you listen
True.
to him and you're like, wow.
True.
I love that.
and go into your singing thing.
I could learn guitar, and I could learn the rules of blues, and I could learn all of these things. And there's usually, it gets back towards
that feel.
each person has their own background.
Yeah. Could
And
you
they
be
have, and that all accumulates into how well you can do a certain thing. So could I get Chris Hemsworth's body if I had all of the things that he spent money on to get that body?
It's a bad example, bro.
You would look just like him.
It's not art though. Like, could you be Beethoven? Could you be?
Well,
could you be
John's
Beethoven?
body
Like,
is art, though.
who the fuck could be Beethoven? Like,
That's what I'm
are you-
saying. That's
like,
that's been my point of view the whole night. Is like, I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how much time you've spent on it. Could you ever be Beethoven?
I think that's.
Well,
I
here's a
think
good-
that's a bad.
Well,
it's
I'm
a
not-
bad
I'm not- I'm not-
comparison.
How about this then? How
Well,
about like you?
Well, that's
I'm not-
Joe's.
so-
Joe's point of view.
so
He's telling you if you had unlimited resources.
I'm not arguing the fact that they're in the 1% of what people do, like in these specialized fields, that there are
Could you be Vivaldi?
that are better. There are athletes or actors or artists that are better than there
Or
are.
Jordan.
We know them. We know they exist. So like, yes, are there people making music that's out there? Yeah, there are people making music.
I mean, there could
but-
be people better than Beethoven,
they're
who
not-
just never discovered.
but they're not like
I-
as
Had
good
to
as
work
say,
on a
like,
farm.
as said status.
Yeah.
But going back to, but the thing is with BB King,
Just
like I
saying.
can just argue like he advanced music, but there are better guitarists than BB King.
True.
But it
In
is
what
because
way?
of him.
Better, like,
Well,
I think
think about it
I
this
think
way,
when you're
Jim,
talking
and
Yeah,
the way
Hendrix in what way?
Because I can play BB King. Like you just go on there and just play. It's AED.
yeah, but
like,
can
it's this
you write
blues
the
riff.
music?
I don't think
that he wrote?
I don't. Are we talking guitar style?
Because
or are we
he-
talking music though? Like what he
Well,
was singing. I thought we were talking guitar.
I would say
going
I would
instruments,
say
so.
his ensemble
hold on.
because he's a full meal deal.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get to the point.
let me
the bottom of this.
let me get this point out real quick. Speaking of like being a lyricist and like wanting to sing and having all the money to sing, right? Okay, most people sing in three octaves. Like most your pop stars, the people that you like, they sing in 3 octaves, and they're professionals. They're in technically what Miles was saying, the 1 percentile. You have some people that sing in 4 and 5. Like Chris Cornell sings in 5. Jack Black only sings in 4. Right? But then a lot of people would go, Jack Black, since he's funny and how he
What was-
sings, he
what was
can't
Queen,
sing.
like 7 because
No,
of his molars. or
No,
some
he
shit?
sang 5. And so Chris Cornell and Freddie Mercury sang 5 octaves. Again, the best of the best, but then you're now like people will hear like Shania Twain or you name your artist and like, oh, they're as good in their
Yeah, but
mind
that's-
to
but that
said
goes-
Freddie Mercury because they're in that 1 percentile and they're as famous to a point.
But my point can also be
Right?
proven is like
So
you
can
can't-
money
you
money can't make you sing
you
in
can't
more octaves.
assemble like a great band. Like everybody's bands can be different. Like your band,
Mhm.
You're
your-
changing your point too many times, Joe. You have to decide if money and time is going to make you a better artist or if it's natural ability.
I think I'm excluding natural ability for the point.
well,
Like if you never picked up a basketball before and I gave you all the resources in the world to learn how to play basketball, you would be in the top 1%. I guarantee it. Like you're just gonna. It's natural.
I don't
You're just
know.
gonna happen.
You'll
to do it.
never be
I don't-
Jordan.
I-
You'll
You're
never be Jordan.
You
You'll never
won't be Jordan caliber. No, because like
He's the 1%.
he's talent.
If
Well,
you
I'm
took,
talking about,
if
like,
you took
NBA,
a
like-
random
Yeah,
a
but
random
any-
kid somewhere in the country and gave them the best basketball coaches, the
But he's
best
5'4".
work-
But he's 5'4".
Well, whatever.
Doesn't
Muggsy
matter.
Bogues.
Muggsy Bogues is
Take
4'9".
the average person. Like take a
4'9".
take a 6 foot kid. Take a kid who's going to grow up to be 6 foot.
Yeah.
And just make their entire life about basketball. Could you get them to the NBA?
Yes,
Probably.
guaranteed.
But
Think about this though.
He's gonna be the
But
1%.
Think of
But-
the
but-
flop of that. We knew a kid that was just that.
Injury.
Had all the resources
didn't.
and was the
Statistics
best
do not
athlete. And then
support
when
his idea
he
at all.
got to college, he's like, I don't want to do this anymore because the whole time, even though he had full ride scholarships on 2 different sports,
Okay, I'm
he-
talking. That's a mental
no.
decision that he made. Who cares about
Right,
that? I'm
but
saying like
the thing
if
about
you
it
just
is
did the
if-
same fucking
if
thing
you gave
over
me
and
10
over,
mil to
and
play
the reason I
basketball,
can prove this is true
I'm not
is
beating
because you're
anybody
good
in
at your
sport.
job.
is my
You
point.
do it daily, in and out, over and over. You
I'm
weren't-
just-
you
hang
didn't know
on.
how to
Yeah,
do
but you have to have a
boilers,
drive,
but
Joe.
now
Hang
you
on,
have-
if I
now
gave-
know
You
how to
have
do
to have a
boilers.
drive.
You
The
didn't know
dr-
how to do pavement.
the
Now you know how to
drive-
do pavement.
But
Joe, you're telling me that
the
if I
drive
if I
makes you.
gave you $100 million and all of the scholars in the world, that you could put a rocket on the moon?
I bet I could figure it out. Yeah,
I don't think so.
guaranteed,
I doubt it.
easily. I would not. My
well,
personality.
easily is a rather
My personality
thing
is
to
like
say.
I will never limit myself to shit I believe that I can do. I will not look at somebody athletically or actor wise, scientific wise, whatever, and be like, I cannot accomplish that.
No,
Like, why would I?
think that's
why
the right
would I
attitude.
put anyone on a pedestal? Like, why would
Well,
I do that?
That's not the point.
That's
Hey,
not the question.
I would say that
I'm
what
not
you
cutting
just
us off because
said
we have good
is-
talks, but
is right.
Dad's got a jet. I got things going on.
Okay.
So
You want to end it?
no, you guys can keep going if you want.
No,
Yeah, you're hot in topics right now.
no. I mean, we can end it. It's
No,
fine.
You can go
No
like
big deal.
another 30 minutes if you want, and then sign off. I gotta.
I-
I have no hands at home,
No handsies.
Yeah.
so
You
So-
go help.
unfortunately,
It's all right. We'll let Jim
Hey.
close out with this topic and
no.
Yeah,
you guys go.
I think I think it'd be important to get to the bottom of this because I think there's things there, and yeah. See, dude. Yeah, yeah.
see, buddy.
And there's an aspect of what you're saying
My
that I
ass
think
itches.
is good, and it's saying I'm not going to limit myself to what I can do or what I think I can do. I think that's a very important thing to say because you have that awesome potential within you, and there's probably innumerable obstacles that would be in your way to getting there.
Yeah.
You're always going to have those obstacles. And the thing that I'm wondering about is you're talking about putting these people on a pedestal, which, you know, they're very accomplished. So they get paid a shit ton of money to do what they do, right? And if we all could make a shit ton of money doing what we did, we would do it.
Well, I mean, if that's how you value success, though.
Well, I mean, generational
Why
wealth, I
wouldn't you?
think, is a pretty decent because that's
Oh,
other
That's
people
pretty good
saying
assumption. Yeah,
it's other people saying, "Hey, what you're doing is valuable to
to
me."
make sense. Yeah.
Like, like is it worth it to me to listen on Spotify to a band that I really like, knowing that they get a fraction of a cent every time I listen to their song?
Buy their merch, by the way.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
be their Patreon.
I agree.
You know, that's a better way.
I'm just throwing out there. I have band friends that are like,
Oh yeah. Well, because when you buy their merch,
they pay $25 a year off of like 200,000, listens or whatever. But
oh yeah. Just like places like
but buying a
Spotify
shirt,
and Apple
like buying
Music.
10 shirts, will pay the same amount of money.
Yeah. You the payment structure is like, but what I'm
He's
apart
trying
from
to
that, though.
expose. He's trying to expose that fucking music industry. It's a corrupt industry, but I get what you're
is it corrupt though?
Well, I
like,
mean,
I
if you're
think
if
it
you're
is.
the artist
I would
and you're
say-
only getting a fraction of a percent, and they get 99%.
I think in
Well-
all of media, I think that there's a high level of corruption, movies and otherwise. Like you hear about this, like these deals with like the one with Dave Chappelle just came out. I
Mm.
don't know if you know about this one.
Mm.
They based his contractual deal off of $500 million,
Oh yeah, I heard that shit.
and he made he beat basically their odds, let's say, for that 500 million. So he had a certain amount of views and a certain amount of like viewership and consistent viewership and whatever, and to meet this contract. And so they owed him 500 million, and he surpassed it by like I want to say like a third almost. And they ended up saying like, well, you owe us money basically for giving you a platform, so we're actually going to give you 50 million.
Yeah, I remember that.
So they gave him 10%. And that was
like his original Comedy Central deal.
This is one of the reasons why he exited out of Comedy Central, was because the original deal was like if he hit a certain amount of numbers, he was going to hit 500 million, which like who's going to turn down half a trillion?
I mean,
dog?
he did
Billion.
like I
half a billion.
Half a billion, sorry.
yeah, and I mean, and that's the way like I mean, going into valuing success, like do we value it based off money? Maybe Dave Chappelle, he obviously doesn't care about money.
Well, he did at the time.
well,
for
he
a certain
cares about
amount,
his
but
name. He cares about being owned a
Yeah,
lot.
it's success is a strange thing because like people
it's like
that, people
like,
that even
like, say
value
publishing
money.
companies.
People that even value money once they get to a certain number, they're like, does it really matter? Because now everything in my life is paid for, even if I spent $1 million a fucking minute, right?
Yeah.
Like Jeff Bezos, like how the fuck is he gonna spend?
He can't.
He literally can't without really. I mean, really, he could donate.
Mathematically, I didn't even realize how big a billion was. So like,
It's just astronomical.
if
It's
you
fucking
do
ridiculous. Money-wise.
if you do 1 million seconds,
that analogy blows my mind.
it's
Yeah,
11.
that one blew my mind.
It's
too,
11 days.
Yeah.
You do 1 billion seconds,
It's like
it's
35 years.
31 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Crazy.
holy shit. So like,
It's
when
it's
Elon Musk bought it for 42 billion, bro, you bought like fucking
So-
lifetimes of fucking Twitter out here. Like Jesus Christ.
and
So-
and he's probably going to make his money back because he's running it in a way that
He's already
people
made it back.
want what he has
Yeah.
to sell.
Yeah.
People are going to pay that $10 subscription fee or $25 fee to get the blue check mark because it's an effective platform.
But the thing with him
And
is
it's a
like,
valuable thing.
He had no like training. You know, he came from South Africa.
Well, he's a genius.
He had an idea like
he's.
I
yeah,
mean,
he's,
he's viewed as in the populace as a genius. I know a
he's
lot.
high IQ wise.
I know a lot of geniuses out there, but it's like
Do you know a lot of
he-
South African geniuses
Not-
that
not
own
really
that many
South
companies
African.
and that many millions of dollars?
but I know a lot of geniuses that say like he's not a genius either. So it's hard to say.
how much
like,
money do they have?
Not as much as him, but they
The
could.
highest amount of any
But
trading
the thing
company?
is like he values that, where the other people
he
that,
doesn't.
where the other people don't value that.
Well,
I would totally disagree that
he values his public image because he cultivates it very carefully.
That's true.
if you listen to his ideas, like if you listen to even the idea that they asked him if you were sending a rocket to Mars to populate Mars, okay, and you had the mathematical, wherewithal to figure it out, and you had the way to like, procreate and have food and that sort of thing and survive the trip to Mars, would you go? And he unequivocally says yes, even though it terrifies him. That, if you take that at value, like that takes balls to do that, especially with how much GDP he has, right? Like,
Well, I think it's also pretty accepted that he's rather an odd person.
Yeah, he's definitely
He's certainly not a normal person by
he's
any
on
stretch
what
of the
like
imagination.
normal people call the spectrum. Like
yeah, but
he's-
Jeff Bezos
be.
wouldn't.
Well, it
If you're like, hey Jeff, we'll put you on the moon tomorrow, or in a month from now, or 3 months from now. Huh?
yeah, but they value
Jeff
different
go to
things.
space? Jeff Bezos. didn't he?
Technically, he didn't leave the actual atmosphere, but he went to technically what we call space,
Okay.
yeah,
Mhm.
which is not actual space, which is hilarious. Which I won't give him the award for it because it's
Well-
safe space. It's the same space that like the Red Bull guys went to when they did the fucking dive.
When he jumped up.
Yeah,
So I'm
because they didn't go through a fucking ozone. They didn't go through any of that shit. They would just like they were up there.
going back to my argument. Like I'm not shitting on. Like I agree that there are. So like if we want to say there's 1% of the nationality that makes in America that makes it to said profession. There's
Mhm.
also
I didn't say that, but
there's also a percentage of that percentage that is better than the percentage that is in there, which is fucking really hard to understand. But and that's because it's based
Got
off
that
of
right.
natural your ability. Like you have to be basketball wise, it's better to be tall than it is to be short. Then you're gonna be better if you're taller. Like I get it. Okay.
There's rules of the game, sure.
Makes sense.
basketball is a made up rule set, though, right?
So,
but it's not
helps,
arbitrary.
It helps if you have a certain.
There's rules for the game that make the game. It's an even playing field of sorts.
Yeah.
It is an arbitrary set of rules, just like soccer or just like wrestling, but
how even
there's
is it?
value in it. But there's value in playing the game that way.
But how even is it, though?
What do you mean, how even is it?
As far as the people that are able to succeed in the sport, how even is it across the board for race? Lots of Chinese people get to play basketball.
There's a lot of
Well,
Chinese
well,
people.
Like, how even is it?
Well, like, what do you mean, how even is it? Like, how like, could somebody who's 5 foot
Well, when they
succeed
decided
in the
to put
NBA?
the fucking hoop at 12 feet or whatever,
Yeah.
how even is that?
There's just some guys like, hey, let's put it up there. It's the nature of the game. So okay, it's going
I just think that
it's going to discriminate against certain people because they have
I'm not talking about
physical
discrimination. I'm
characteristics.
talking about, like, to me, sports is arbitrary. I'd rather compete this with, like, minds.
Well, sports it's an arbitrarily determined set of rules to a certain extent, but to a certain extent, well, not fully, because like us with our bodies has to be able to play it.
What percentage of success, though, do the races have in each sport? Basketball, what is it?
I don't know.
What's the composition?
Well, I'd say there's a predominance of colored,
Okay,
black people,
yeah, so it definitely leans towards
because that population generates that body type, and also
in football. What is
going past that?
what
I
does
wouldn't
that-
really know. But
what does that lean towards? How about marathons? What does that lean towards?
long, lanky, skinny people.
Right, which is
Okay, so you like your body. You have certain people are better at other things
so
than others.
if you're just like an average white dude that's just born in like Wichita, Kansas, and you're fucking 5'6" or 5'7", which is the average height,
Mhm.
you know, for
Yeah.
in a Caucasian male, let's say in
Mhm.
America. What is your success rate going to be in the NBA, the NFL?
1 in 500,000.
It's not even
One
like
in a
it's not even
million.
you're not even going to be in the 1%. Like trying to shoot for that 1%, you're going to be in a fraction of that 1%.
Yeah, but then people like John Stockton go and be very successful in the NBA. How tall was he? Like 5'10",
Not
But
tall
now
at all.
but now you're talking about like
5'8".
but if you look at that
I don't
on
know.
the if you look at that in statistically though, he is a fucking anomaly of an anomaly of an anomaly at that point.
Right. But would he have been an anomaly if he wasn't persistent at what he did?
I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I'm just saying like
He was super good though.
I think we're treading into a ground where you're trying to make equality where it just can't exist because of all of our very differences. It's like, okay, people are that the 5 foot white guy in Wichita is just as valuable from me philosophically as the 6'10" guy.
for you.
Well, because of
But a scout's gonna go like, hey
Oh.
man, every single person that plays this position is actually meets these criterion, and they're not going to look at you, dude.
yeah, so
Well, that's what I'm saying is like you trying to achieve the goal that you're trying to achieve is like
well, it's like Rudy, like that movie, like
I've never
Rudy.
seen it.
Rudy.
but- Never seen it.
It's the story of a man who basically said,
This is Rudy Giuliani.
no. It's about the Notre Dame football team.
Yeah, it's a true
And
story,
how,
though, right?
yeah, absolutely true. Rudy was a very disadvantaged body type person who wanted to play football for Notre Dame.
They
And
exist,
so
dude. I'm not saying they don't.
and so he worked his ass off and he put himself through hell essentially and got himself beat up every day on the practice squad. Everybody told him to quit. He wouldn't. And he really didn't get any kind of success other than he got a spot on the practice squad.
Sure.
But he earned everybody's respect, and he actually got to play it down in the last year of his career.
Now you put that one
And-
guy, whoever Rudy is, and you put that into the amount of people that were in the same category as him, height, weight, and race. Try to figure out what percentage Rudy is of the amount of people that play that position. That he
I'd say Rudy is a 1 in a 10 million or 1 in a 100 million.
fucking
or,
more,
easily.
way more.
yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
He's
is
an
like,
outstanding
so,
person.
So trying to
But that's why he's notable, is he possessed this persistence towards his ideal
but everybody
that he never
but
sacrificed.
the problem with that is like it's not realistic.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
not realistic to tell
he's the-
everybody this is what Joe was saying earlier, with persistence and a large amount of money and time, that anyone can accomplish these things. And I don't believe that for a second. You can't give me the amount of time and money as this Rudy guy had, right? And put me in the same position as him.
like he didn't have any money though.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Is
Yeah, and a lot of-
you can't, number one, you can't force it, and number two, even with those contributions, you're not going to put me in the 1 in a trillion chance.
Oh yeah, if you're going to be in the 1% of something, you have to have some of the, at least in my estimation, you have to have some of those natural benefits putting you in the advantage in that area in the first
Sure.
place. So to be in the top 1% of all NFL athletes, you have to be a body type that really suits what you're trying to do. You have to
gotta
have
be a
had the
freak
training.
beast, man. You have to
Well,
be
yeah, yeah, freak beast. Like John Stewart was a running back for Carolina, for Carolina Panthers, and he grew up in school in Washington. And I heard stories about him as an athlete in high school. Like he was just an outstanding head and shoulders above man animal against everybody he faced in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Like just he's next level. He's like a college player in high school
Sure.
when he was playing high school, even though he was the same age as everyone. So he had that huge advantage. Was he a top 1% running back in the NFL? Maybe for, well, it's like, well, what's this 1%? Like,
Right.
Like you're talking about 1% of the general male population because the NFL's
Just
played by men.
Just the success of
So-
of any given things. You can pick music, you can pick sports, you can pick NFL, you can pick whatever.
Sure.
That
So, like,
distribution
from the
exists
general
across the board.
population.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like
It's even
he,
CEOs.
he
you
had
look at,
this
you look at
huge,
CEOs. You look at how many CEOs there are in this country,
Mm.
and the 1% owned 99% of the capital.
Yeah.
The 1% of the CEOs in this country and the businesses in this country own 90% of the capital for other CEOs. If you compare them across the board,
I'll
It's
say
absolutely true.
if
like
CEOs
Jeff Bezos owns more money. He's in that 1%. He owns more money than how many other CEOs in this entire country?
because he created and a business based around an idea that he had that almost everybody in the country wanted and uses, so he did something that was revolutionary and he profited off of that spectacularly.
He had
And I'll
And-
tell you, the Amazon model, like
when
when they're selling things, it almost requires it to be made in like some low labor place like China, because they take
even before all
30
that,
to 40% of the value of the sale
Yeah.
for Amazon just for having the platform that they sell it on.
it's 20 to 25% for fulfillment. So as a small business trying to fulfill on there, they take 20%.
20%.
Yeah, but this is recent years. So like you talk
Mhm.
about his genius with the platform. Imagine growing a business from $120,000 a year to $100 million a year, and you're talking that takes place over 3 years. Okay.
That's crazy.
Now you're the fucking guy that started it in your garage as a book company.
It's very unlikely that the person that did that
So
has
you
the
have to-
tools to
Correct.
manage that
Correct.
company when it gets gargantuan.
So that's what I'm talking about, the 1% of CEOs, because this guy had the wherewithal to learn how to run a $100,000 company to a $100 million company within 3.5 years.
and nobody came and took it from him.
And his own
because-
board didn't, right?
Well,
His own board didn't go like, hey, Jeff actually likes to like.
He set up in Seattle though on purpose. Like,
Well,
he knew.
Well,
Well,
as an example, there's a
was
company
thinking
I know
ahead.
of. There's a company I know of, a local company, that they got successful. They started doing great business. They brought in investors to expand their business, and the investors were all bought out by a single investor, and that allowed them to force the issue of
Yeah.
you have to buy me out or I'm going to buy you out.
Right.
And so the people who made the company,
That's poor management from the top. Yeah.
well, they let it get away from them.
Yeah.
And so it got taken from them. They got
So-
paid for it.
So when they allowed capital to come in, they should have had one person at least hold the majority of the business if they were going to split it into a corp. So
Yeah. So it
People
grew
make
too
that
fast
mistake-
for what their
Yeah.
capabilities were.
and that's what I'm
Which-
saying is like this. So this guy, like we were talking about Elon Musk earlier. It's like, how do you take this engineer then, the software engineer, and how do you take him from making, $250,000, $500,000 a year, to like a company that's now worth $100 million to $150 million. I forget the company prior to PayPal was, but it was worth quite a sizable amount. I think he sold it for $250 million. I think it was a quarter. And then he started PayPal, and then it kind of did the same thing.
Well, like when you get into that zone, like the Warren Buffett zone.
But you have to be of the mentality to adapt and roll with that adaptation.
Oh yeah,
and learn.
You have to be flexible, like the Bruce Lee. That you be the water that fits the container.
You can't be the guy that's like, dude, $250 fucking million. I'm out, dude. I'm fucking bouncing. I'm going to Ibiza tomorrow.
Yeah, but if you're a truly driven person, you're not just going to walk away from doing things. Like if you're passionate about something, you're just going to go do it somewhere else.
But money makes it different.
Oh yeah. Absolutely makes it different.
I think we agree more than we disagree on this whole topic. I think
probably.
Yeah.
Well, I think we agree on. Well, almost everyone in our society agrees on more than they disagree on. It's just they get fixated on those things they disagree on, and that's the only thing they see.
Yeah, that's possible too.
It's like because we all live in the same society. We all live in America. We all follow these same rules, and so that means because we all follow the rules in America. In the legal system and all that, it's like we agree on like at least 70% of everything, just because we're existing in the same. Oh yeah, probably. Yeah. I'm bad at.
Yeah, no, I'm saying that the majority of people probably are similar and agree more than they probably let out.
Mm-hmm. And if we find that, we'd get along with each other a lot better.
Well, that's what we used to do, right? Because civil discourse is predicated upon the idea that you're not competitive with somebody right off the bat, right? It's predicated on the idea that you are going to you're going to have a conversation and discourse with somebody, whether or not you disagree is a part of it. However, you're still going to have a conversation and not kind of railroad somebody or.
Oh yeah, if you want a productive conversation,
correct.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's how it used to be before we.
You start out by saying, "Oh, you're fucking wrong." I mean, that conversation ain't going anywhere beneficial.
You start throwing epithets out there. So bad. I'm right there too, dude. No one's here to run keys for me. Okay. Well, spitfire ideas here, because we didn't answer Star's question. Are you going to pick somebody that you would be? I'll go first if you want me to.
Yeah, go ahead.
Robin Williams, dude. Robin Williams. Robin Williams, dude.
That was going to be mine.
It was not, dude. No, it wasn't.
He's a great man. He legitimately made the world better.
He did, dude.
Through his...
And bless him. I miss him, man. So
and I wonder how much of that, of his creativity and the way he was brought about by how close a relationship he had with Jim Belushi.
He suffered from that a lot, and I think a lot of those guys did. Farley did too. That was something that was talked about a lot too, and like Adam Sandler and a lot of these comedians and stuff really, that especially were close to Jim and John both, right? Like they're brothers, right? Jim and John Belushi.
Or John, I mean. Because John was the one that Robin Williams knew.
He knew them both, but...
But the one that overdosed on cocaine.
Yeah.
And apparently Robin was basically living the same lifestyle at the time. And that
was Farley, too. Yeah.
And that was the...
Oh, it was super crazy back then.
That was the moment that he realized, I'm going to end up the same exact way.
Yeah, I'm near the sun, right? He's like
John Candy.
Who was it, Icarus? Yeah,
I think he had a heart attack, didn't he?
Yeah,
because of cocaine.
Oh, was it?
John Candy had 25 years of cocaine abuse as well. Yeah.
Belushi and Farley and John Candy all did cocaine. I mean, it was the 80s, like 70s, 80s. That's what they were doing. Now it's fentanyl. Fentanyl is like quadrupled the amount.
Well, fentanyl is a whole other thing.
And it's not like fentanyl, like people are doing fentanyl. It's because fentanyl's laced in like cigar or cocaine or other shit. It doesn't take much fentanyl to kill you.
What's happening?
You can touch fentanyl.
What's happening a lot too, though, is like people that have sleeping disorders. Like I have sleep apnea, right? I'm not allowed to take anything that's a sleep
like melatonin and shit.
Melatonin, fucking anything.
That's natural though. You can't even.
Doesn't matter. Does not matter.
Well, is it natural to take a supplement?
These guys are taking any muscle relaxers. What happens is your throat relaxes even more, and you literally suffocate to death, right? And your body doesn't have the fucking response rate that it typically has for those sorts of events. So,
but because your body isn't able to detect your oxygen saturation.
Correct.
That's true.
That's one of the things that your body can't do. Which
is, that one guy that just died, dude, in his pool or his bathtub.
The
Backstreet Boy?
Aaron Carter.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Backstreet Boy's son or whatever. NSYNC's
Brother,
Jesus.
I think.
Son. Or yeah,
That's
sorry,
brutal.
brother. So
Tragic.
yeah, so he was drinking. He was taking shit, muscle relaxers, or whatever.
Benzos and shit.
Sitting in a pool, dude, and just went underneath the water and couldn't get himself out of underneath the water. And
Bye.
Jeez.
30,
rough.
32 years old, 31 years old, something like that.
yeah,
It's
it's
pretty young.
Tragedy.
If you got to go, hit the still and just run a commercial. Like we'll be
I
good.
do, yeah.
Yeah, go potty. You gotta go potty. You good?
I'm good.
And then you can mute all our mics.
I'm trying to find the damn Harold and Bertha.
Man, I'll say that cigar.
I'm so excited. Oh my God, we just got done from the south side and we survived. And we got done watching the fucking White Sox get their ass beat by the Yankees. And guess what? Guess what?
What?
They get the Yankees get to play the Cubs next.
Oh, so there's another win for the fucking Yankees.
But
Nobody wants to watch a fucking 10-0 baseball game.
Playing the Cubs, and they've already beat their ass like 22 runs. It's like the best.
Because
Fucking
Chicago doesn't have a baseball team. They have two teams in particular that are in that fucking goddamn
Well, they
town,
tried.
and they all suck.
They tried when all the fucking 1990s bands got together. The ones that would sing valves like like Jerry Vedder and Jeremy Vedder and Skis and Vedder.
Some vetter, I'm
They
gonna
got
vetter you
together,
in the face.
and they-
At least come back
they-
to the fucking sports here,
They
goddamn
bought their
Bertha.
wins like the Yankees. They finally figured out how to win. And then what they do?
They haven't done shit. You
They
tell me.
haven't done shit.
What are they doing?
You know what?
They
You know-
call this title town, but there ain't no title town unless you're talking about stolen cars that don't have fucking
You know
titles.
what?
That's the only thing I think that happens in that fucking place.
I've never met an organization that made more jerseys off of losing than the Cubs.
Right? I
Right.
mean, what are you going to do there? I mean, it's Chicago. I mean, I'm surprised we survived with our lives, and now we're walking around again with no goddamn ketchup on my fucking hot dog. We got to watch
can't-
shitty-ass fucking
can't
games.
ask for
What is a White Sox? A White Sox the only thing that I
can't
have in
ask
my
for it.
fucking room because I can't fuck your fat ass, so I got to sprint my dick into a goddamn sock. It's White Sox,
They
okay?
don't have-
What are we doing out
They
here?
don't have big Bertha beds out here.
But
You know we've
Bertha
been trying
Beds-
to get that
yeah,
out here.
they should be called the fucking Bears, not the Cubs. I mean, look at you. You need a fucking cave to go
I thought
crawl
it
in.
was a bear. I'm
No,
bear
you're a
guy.
wildebeest.
Ah.
Yeah, a beast. I don't see them in Chicago having the beast team.
Maybe if they change their name to Wildebeest, they might actually not lose all the time.
Yeah, until they lose their fucking dicks in you fat fucking hoe. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave your ass here. White Sox, Cubs, Bears, all of them. You know what? Maybe we'll even be in the Blackhawks. Let them fucking run a trade on your ass, too.
What are the Blackhawks?
The ones you like to know.
Harold, I'm so excited. Oh my God, we just got done from the south side and we survived. And we got done watching the fucking White Sox get their ass beat by the Yankees. And guess what? Guess what?
What?
They get the Yankees get to play the Cubs next.
Oh, so there's another win for the fucking Yankees.
But
Nobody wants to watch a
They've
fucking
already-
10-0
they've
baseball
already been
game.
Playing the Cubs, and they've already beat their ass like 22 runs. It's like the best.
Because
fucking-
Chicago doesn't
Ah.
have a baseball team. They have two teams in particular that are in that fucking goddamn
Well, they
town,
tried.
and they all suck.
They tried when all the fucking 1990s bands got together. The ones that would sing valves like like Jerry Vedder and Jeremy Vedder and Skis and Vedder.
Some vetter, I'm
They
going
got
to vetter you
together,
in the face.
and they-
At least come back
they-
to the fucking sports here,
They
goddamn
bought their
Bertha.
wins like the Yankees. They finally figured out how to win. And then what they do?
They haven't done shit. You tell me.
haven't done shit.
What are they doing?
You know what?
They call this title town, but there ain't no title town unless you're talking about stolen cars that don't have fucking
You know
titles.
what?
That's the only thing I think that happens in that fucking place.
I've never met an organization that made more jerseys off of losing than the Cubs.
Right? I
But-
mean, what are you going to do there? I mean, it's Chicago. I mean, I'm surprised we survived with our lives, and now we're walking around again with no goddamn ketchup on my fucking hot dog. We got to watch
You can't-
shitty-ass fucking
can't
games.
ask for
What is a White Sox? A White Sox the only thing that I
can't
have in
ask
my
for it.
fucking room because I can't fuck your fat ass, so I got to sprint my dick into a goddamn sock. It's White Sox.
They
Okay?
don't have-
What are we doing out
They
here?
don't have big Bertha beds out here.
But
You know we've been
Bertha
trying to
Beds-
get that
yeah,
out here.
they should be called the fucking Bears, not the Cubs. I mean, look at you. You need a fucking cave to go
I
crawl
thought
in.
it was a bear. I'm
No,
bear
you're a
guy.
wildebeest.
Ah.
Yeah, a beast. I don't see them in Chicago having the beast team.
Maybe if they change their name to Wildebeest, they might actually not lose all the time.
Yeah, until they lose their fucking dicks in you fat fucking hoe. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave your ass here. White Sox, Cubs, Bears, all of them. You know what? Maybe we'll even be in the Blackhawks. Let them fucking run a trade on your ass, too.
What are the Blackhawks?
The ones you like to know.
Harold, I'm I'm so excited. Oh my God, we just got done from the south side and we survived. And we got done watching the fucking White Sox get their ass beat by the Yankees. And guess what? Guess what?
What?
They get the Yankees get to play the Cubs next.
Oh, so there's another win for the fucking Yankees.
But
nobody wants to watch a fucking 10-0 baseball game.
Playing the Cubs, and they've already beat their ass like 22 runs. It's like the best.
Because Chicago doesn't have a baseball team. They have two teams in particular that are in that fucking goddamn town, and they all suck.
They tried when all the fucking 1990s bands got together. The ones that would sing valves like like Jerry Vedder and Jeremy Vedder and Skis and Vedder.
Some Vedder. I'm gonna Vedder you in the face.
They,
at least come back to the fucking sports here,
They
goddamn
bought their wins like the Yankees. They finally figured out how to win, and then what they do?
They haven't done shit. You tell me.
They haven't done shit.
What are they doing?
You know what?
They call this Title Town, but there ain't no Title Town unless you're talking about stolen cars that don't have fucking
You know
titles.
what?
That's the only thing I think that happens in that fucking place.
I've never met an organization that made more jerseys off of losing than the Cubs.
Right? I
But-
mean, what are you going to do there? I mean, it's Chicago. I mean, I'm surprised we survived with our lives, and now we're walking around again with no goddamn ketchup on my fucking hot dog. We got to watch
can't-
shitty-ass fucking
can't
games.
ask for
What is a White Sox? A White Sox the only thing that I
can't
have in
ask
my
for it.
fucking room because I can't fuck your fat ass, so I got to sprint my dick into a goddamn sock. It's White Sox.
They don't
Okay?
have-
What are we doing out
They
here?
don't have big Bertha beds out here.
But
You know we've
Bertha
been trying
Beds-
to get that
yeah,
out here.
they should be called the fucking Bears, not the Cubs. I mean, look at you. You need a fucking cave to go
I thought
crawling.
it was a bear. I'm
No,
a bear
you're a
now.
wildebeest.
Ah!
Yeah, a beast. I don't see that in Chicago having the beast team.
Maybe if they change their name to Wildebeest, they might actually not lose all the time.
Yeah, until they lose their fucking dicks in you, you fat fucking hoe. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave your ass here. White Sox, Cubs, Bears, all of them. You know what? Maybe we'll even be in the Blackhawks. Let them fucking run a trade on your ass, too.
What are the Blackhawks?
And wouldn't you like to know?
Jesus. Oh, that's
There we go. Fucking
Yeah.
Harold and Bertha out here.
Yeah, right. But like it, putting people up on a pedestal. If you put that akin to holding them as an idol in place of what the true source of power is, or the true ideal would be a better way to say that. Power isn't the only thing; it's a component. But the true ideal, I'm not putting any one of these people, and this is how I think about it. And there's other people who do tend to idolize these, celebrities. You can take an aspect that makes them really good at what they do and extract that from them, make that abstract concept, and then take that and apply it to your life.
Mm-hmm.
So if I take the self-control that Matthew McConaughey exhibits in being able to just easily follow a diet that means he is so hungry every second of every day.
Unbelievably so.
But he said that wasn't the hard part. The hard part was deciding to do it, which is just, he has more self-control than I do. I would find that very hard. I love cookies. Like, I fucking love cookies. I love beer. I love these things. It would be very hard for me to deprive myself of that for 3 months or whatever it was it took him to lose that weight. Because he said, when I was prepping for the role, it took me about 3 months to lose the weight. And what I did is just every day I ate the same thing, and it was this really limited diet, and it would be incredibly hard for your self-control to allow you to do that unless it was fucking ironclad. So that ironclad self-control is something that I think I should aspire to, because, well, if I want to go play video games when I should be doing something else, that's going to get in the way of me being better at what I need to do.
Yeah, I think that what he's trying to say in that too was also like, once he set his mind to something, his character, like his moral character is based off of this premise of that when he does something, he does it. And I think that what you're trying to say is like
An absolutist.
Yeah, correct. So when he decided to do the role, it wasn't whether or not if he was going to be able to pull the role off. It was more like, if I decide to do it, that's the harder decision, because I will do whatever it takes in order to do it, if that makes sense.
And his knowledge of that about himself is like, okay, I'm not going to set my sights on something that is
Right.
going to be counterproductive.
Or compromising of his own character.
Sure. Because when you wield a gun, you know it's capable, what it's capable of.
Exactly.
And it's basically like, okay, if I point if my self-control is a gun and I point it at something that's just going to bounce a bullet back at me and it's going to hit me and kill me, then I'm not going to pull the trigger on that.
So I have a great question then for you
So
guys.
I could see that being a thing he does.
I think I have a great question in closing here for everything.
Sure.
All right. Let's hear it.
If you could do that one thing and you had the resources and the time or the wherewithal, what would it be? What would you decide? Would it be your engineering career? Would it be doing music or vocals? Would it be running a business or chemistry, brewing, Joe? What would I mean? Not even those things.
That is a
It could
tough
be
question. To
whatever.
answer.
I already have mine.
What would it be?
I already know what I want to do.
Because there's a lot of aspects of my life that I like. I love being a father. I love
Tremendous achievement there, by the way.
Oh,
yeah,
it's
amazing.
fantastic.
Dude. Super happy for you, by the way.
Oh, thanks. And I
Knowing
just
you
want,
before and after children, dude. Seriously,
Appreciate
it's
it.
amazing. Yeah.
yeah, it makes you a better man. The more responsibility you can take, the better you are. So
Agreed.
in that regard, if there was one thing, like what you're asking is if I could be a professional basketball player, or if I could be
Whatever, dude. It
a
could be
world-renowned
just
Nobel
whatever
Prize
makes you-
or
winning
wrestler,
physicist, or-
wrestler, basketball player,
makes you
football
happy?
player,
What-
whatever. No, seriously. Like I want to know.
I am comprised of so many things that I couldn't pick just one that I would want to be
We all are
the
though.
absolute
So
best at.
what's that thing though that just
If you
I'd
could
really
win-
like to sing that well.
All right,
I
well,
think
I think
there
singing might
knowing
be
you?
my thing.
Honestly, I would have picked singing too.
I
really,
could see
if
that.
I could make other people happy by singing, that would fill me up a
Yeah.
lot.
And you have
that
a
would be
great voice,
awesome.
by the way.
I don't
have a-
practice enough with
It
it.
doesn't matter. You have a great voice.
Thank you.
So just
I've heard you sing before too.
so like in general, just making other people happy. So for you, it could be singing. Miles already hit mine. It'd just be having a brewery or
Yeah.
a mushroom plant out here.
It's this new mushroom thing.
Get that
dude.
thing going.
He's
Well,
gonna
you
be a
need-
fun
you need more
guy.
compost.
He's gonna be a
got-
fun
I
guy to
got
be
supply
around.
for
You know.
I think it's a very understudied, or like it's an organism that is like not respected as much as it should be, and if it provides benefit,
Yeah, I think there's
especially
space there.
anything that like a big pharma negates, just like
Mm.
exposing that and like
Yeah.
whatever you can. But
You mean you don't like taking drugs grown by E. coli?
no, and I never, and
Grown
I
acetaminophen.
don't like going to the doctor in general to get like antibiotics and shit. Like fuck.
Yeah, well,
Especially being a scientist or a scientific mind, you know what's wrong with you. You're like, God damn it, I know what they're gonna give me, and like I don't want it.
you
Really?
you think you know.
I can work this out.
One thing I'm pretty certain on is I know a lot. I've basically lived a lot of my life with okay, I want to get at least a working knowledge of any sector of the world because I'm a part of the world. But whenever I have something figured, and I can have things figured pretty well, and so can my wife, 90% of the time we're accurate.
Yeah.
But do I want to base an absolute
No.
on something I know 90%? I never know everything,
Hell yeah.
especially when I don't have the ability to see clearly.
I agree.
My perspective is always warped. So getting other people's perspective, and you just
Well, everybody's is though, right? I mean, like
But
your
you get-
perspective's never 100%
absolutely, you're always filtered.
based off of your own
Everybody
cognition,
has
right?
everybody has 10 filters they're looking at the world through because that's just their life experience and
Yeah.
their history and
Yeah.
all that.
It's often,
So-
it's often worse than what they think too. People's perspective of their own self worth or their own, their own
You're always
person.
your own worst critic.
Yeah, correct.
Some people are like that. Some people aren't.
That's why I said often.
I think
I
it's
feel like
I think it's a mark of maturity to be your own self-critic, worst self-critic.
true.
Because if you look at yourself,
Narcissism abound.
Take it back to the opposite of that. It's like I look at myself and I see absolutely nothing wrong. I'm perfect. My shit doesn't stink, and
Yeah.
et cetera ad nauseum. Like just like that is the height of adolescent naivete or ignorance or whatever. It's like if you look at yourself honestly and you say these are my faults.
Sure.
It's like
It takes
takes
a lot.
that takes some security in
Takes a
yourself.
lot. Yeah.
That takes some confidence in who you are. and also confidence in your ability to overcome those, because acknowledging your faults means that I can address them in some way and get better than them and overcome them.
Perfect. Shottiers, we'll end that right there then. Work on your faults. Become better. Jim, thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. You're
Thanks
always
for
welcome.
having me.
Whenever you want to come on again.
Yeah, I'll drag my dad next
Miles, thanks for running sticks.
Appreciate you.
Aaron,
Aaron!
I had to go home.
Aaron, wake up!
I had to go wipe my wife's ass.
Wake up!
No, when you get better. Sorry about the surgery, but guys,
All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
see ya.
time.